Welcome to the Hellmouth.
That's what's up, guys? Let me unmute everybody in the call here.
Aren't on there either, so it's like literally one screen with like nothing.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hello.
We're alive.
Hi, we're live.
Yeah.
I was just discussing my hard drive woes. Sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. What is going on with your hard drive? What is the problem?
My old hard drive is shitting out on me. It's making everything like super slow. So I installed a new hard drive, and now I'm in the process of transferring everything from the old hard drive onto the new hard drive. And it's a pain in the ass.
That sucks.
And then once I transfer it all the way to the new hard drive, I'm saving up to get an SSD, and then I'm going to replace all the hard drives. It's just an SSD.
Nice.
I realized the other day that I've been installing stuff on my PC and not been installing it to the SSD. And my PC was like, hey, you know you're nearly out of storage space. And I was like, fuck off. I've got like 3 million gigabits of storage space. Don't lie to me.
Gigabits.
So I went into Steam and it was like, oh, you click on that to install it to the SSD.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't been doing that at all. Oh, yeah.
I've learned more since I started streaming about computers than I've ever learned in my entire life about computers. And I took, like, in high school, like, back in the day, because I'm old, I took the, like, hardware class where, like, you learned about all the computer hardware because there was only, like 5 computers.
I'm old, and I think we're both older than you.
I know, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
I took Mavis. No, that class didn't even exist. When I was in school, I took
computer stuff.
No, I took typing classes.
Yeah, we had typing
class.
I learned about computers because my dad is a geek too, and did a lot of engineering stuff and put computers together, and we had a Commodore when I was growing up. So.
What I did was I took all my learning about computers and then put it in the helpful mind of somebody else.
Later down the road, he didn't know it. His name was Zeke.
He wasn't aware that this is what was happening.
Something hit him.
In high school, I was that nerd that I like started figuring out coding for websites on my own. And then there was a teacher who like did website stuff for the actual school. And like back then, it was like a big deal if your school had a website because not everybody had websites or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I was the nerd that went to him and was like, "Please, can we have more coding classes? I would like to have coding classes, please." Yeah. And so he started that's how I learned Visual Basic and C++, is because I was like, "Please teach me more."
I know that those are programming languages.
Yeah, I learned HTML when I was like 15, 16, and I like at the time there was some guy that I knew who was kind of making fun of me, saying, "Oh, you'll never learn it," and like I got all spiteful, and that's what I went into college for, and I ended up like teaching my class and getting like an internship doing it, and I was
oh my god, yeah,
I was that nerd.
I know how to force an unexpected reboot.
I had a scholarship for making. I eventually took over the website for my school and like pretty much did all of it, and so I got like a scholarship for it.
You have many big words for when that computer crashes and blue screens on you.
I am ready to discuss at length what I did when I turned it off and on again.
I kind of, it's an ugly, yeah, I do, out of spite. There are some things, because I get angry when people are like, they just kind of right off the bat are like, "Nah, you can't do that." And I'm like, really?
Is that right? You think I can't push my hand through broken glass? I will fucking show you, cunt. Even if I end up in hospital.
I don't know why I'm like this.
Welcome to the Hellmouth, where we mostly talk about computers.
Yes. We've got an episode. We were like for like 5 minutes or so before I even hit start, we were just talking, and then I was like, we should probably start. Like,
do we really have an episode?
We were talking smutty horror stuff, and or not smutty, like schlocky horror stuff, and with a little bit of smut, I guess, involved because we were talking about True Blood. Sure. And then we were like, you know what? We should probably just turn it on so that everybody can hear it.
Yeah.
You feel like a Lovecraft expert after last night's movie. It's like, oh, brilliant. I bet you do.
I loved how Chicken said, because I can't remember who, I think it was like Enigma or somebody was talking about, no, it was somebody else who asked about Lovecraft, and somebody said something like, just go play Bloodborne, and Chicken goes, saying just go play Bloodborne to understand Lovecraft It's like saying, just go watch Space Jam to understand basketball. You know?
Yeah, Bloodborne would be the 4-year-old finger painting version of Lovecraft.
I gotta write that one down. That's
Hey, to understand Lovecraft, here's a fucking splammer. Read Lovecraft, cunt.
It's
not rocket science.
Yeah, speaking of schlocky movies, we had our sub-movie night last night, and we watched Necronomicon, Book of the Dead, and Castle Freak, which are...
So you couldn't even watch, like, Reanimator? Which
no,
would, we've lazily into the right category.
We've watched Reanimator already.
There's Reanimator 2 and Reanimator 3, and they're all the same shit.
That's true. There's like a mouse carrying a penis across a prison.
That's all happening.
In Reanimator 2, I remember that.
Jeffrey Combs being weird as per.
I mean, he's being weird in Castle Freak.
He's weird in everything. He doesn't have any other mode but weird. I imagine his children hate going anywhere with him. Parents' evening is a bitch with that guy. Hello, I'm Mr. Coombs. Oh, God. Children start crying nearby.
Are you? Oh, no.
Wife starts self-harming.
It's
dies.
When he comes in, he's the one that all the parents kind of look at, and then they, like, put their back. They, like, step in front of their kids and put their back towards him, and they kind of look at him like, no. Over here, children. Away from him. Away from him. So
there's that.
Yeah.
You're female lyric, apparently. So I'm assuming that means you're a girl without a camera.
That is... Tigers always comes in and says that. And I've just gotten to the point where I accept it.
No, I mean, that is the things I think of. When I think of lyric and I think of you, I think same fucking person, different gender.
See,
the stuff they do is
I did
like,
that too, and he was actually
identical.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I railed on it too, and he was like, actually, like, it's that, but also I love you both, and I was like, all right, I'll take that.
Well, that's fair.
That'll take.
Well, you know, as long as there's an adoration factor involved, then that's cool.
Finally watched From Beyond earlier tonight, and it was better than you expected. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, we were gonna talk about. We didn't have like a huge idea for other than like just schlocky, because our last episode was like,
say that we needed a filler episode would be both accurate and true.
Well, the last episode we did was like our favorites, best of, if I'm not mistaken. And so
best of movies and video games.
Now we're kind of doing the opposite, whereas even though it's some of our, maybe it's stuff that we liked, it's like categorically the worst in like
it's
games.
Not stuff that I liked.
Yeah, like Adam's the only one who's just like, it's pollution, it must all, but yeah.
if it could all be like surgically severed from horror and cast off into its own filthy, disgusting genre, that would be great. Rather than in any sense being associated with this.
So he'll be the one who offers that objective side of things, because like I agree, it's all terrible. However, people who are here, and this is why it's on my channel, because I play like terrible games. I'm very known for playing shitty games.
I love you for it. Thank you so much.
I do it because they're fun, and
just like lyric,
I can make fun of them, and it's
like
a group
you probably
experience.
Wouldn't want to play these games without having people around.
I would
to just
never play Ride to Hell Retribution on my own, and I would
exactly.
I wouldn't want to play these games with 1 million people watching me.
I have to say, guys, I'm pretty much on the same side as Jade for this conversation. So be ready to hear all the negative from Adam, like you don't already hear that.
That's all right, though. We need that balance.
Hey now.
Hey now.
How are the last few episodes of Twin Peaks, Adam?
Oh.
I don't fucking know. They're not in England.
You haven't.
We're gonna catch up tomorrow.
How am I gonna watch them?
We're gonna catch up tomorrow because we have our shit together.
Oh.
We have so got our shit together.
I definitely have my shit together.
Our shit is so cohesive at this point. You wouldn't even believe how cohesive our shit is.
Game of Thrones is on tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should watch that too, I suppose.
We should watch both those.
We just have so much.
That crap,
let's
just until 7 a.m. because that's what we do.
That sounds like us, yeah. Yeah. That's probably how it will go
I
down.
cannot wait to talk about some of the games that have already been mentioned in this chat.
Oh God, yeah.
All right, so let's before we dig into this, let's make a distinct point here.
Yes.
Between games that are like knowingly bad, games that are actually terrible and they think they're not, and games that are like truly polluting the wellspring of horror, right?
Okay.
So there's games like Freddy's and Five Nights at Freddy's and that kind of thing, which is knowingly tropically bad. Now, whether you like Five Nights at Freddy's or not, and you shouldn't, it doesn't matter, because it knows that it's being tropey shite, and it's okay with it. And it's much the same in that regard as Trauma, which is knowingly, self-effacingly crappy.
Yeah.
Right? But it's doing it on purpose, so it's almost made okay by its crappiness.
In a way, it's
making fun of itself.
It's a weird. It's like a Weird Al of like movies or games. You know, they're doing it almost on purpose. You know,
there's some dignity because they are parodying in a sense. That's what Trauma is doing, and while it reduces the fear overall for horror as a genre, it's okay that it exists, right? And this is true as well of things like
sometimes it's fun
Freddy's
to just watch somebody that comes out of the toilet, and when you stab them, it just is just nasty green pus everywhere and like spraying. Sometimes it's fun. Okay, proceed.
And then there's the kind of horror that isn't knowingly bad but thinks it's okay. So, Wayland Island.
I feel like Wayland Island knows that it's
if
bad.
it knows, then it needs to be a bit more obvious about it, unfortunately. And that's the issue.
When it comes to games like that, it's more like that Obscura game where they're like, we're going to try to make a Fatal Frame game, but it's just really bad. Like, they probably thought that they were making a good game, and they didn't.
The problem with Wayland Island is... sort of. I mean, the problem with Wayland Island is if they know that it's bad and they're going for that, then they need to be overt with it. Because otherwise, what you just get is a bad game. If you go subtle with this shit, like take Trauma for example, and then put it up next to something like Troll. Okay, Trauma is like so overtly, obviously self-aware of its own crappiness that you can be like, yeah, this is funny, and they meant it to be funny too, which is fine. Whereas Troll is just garbage, terrible, terrible garbage. Now it's memed all to fuckery, of course. At this point, especially Troll.
So, like, the first Troll is, like, trying to be funny, but is trying to be, like, scary, but isn't. But then the second one is the one.
Well, I mean, the second one is also trying, but in a really lazy way. Something like Wrong Turn Roundabout number 3 would be starting to become self-aware.
Yeah. Like, okay, I see what you're saying.
The first Wrong Turn isn't self-aware. It thinks it's being frightening.
And it's hard to tell where Wayland Island falls on it because it seems like it is taking itself pretty seriously, but it's bound by limitations that whoever made it had. You know, they didn't have a huge budget. They were
no
just
imagination, no intelligence, no programming skill, no capacity to do anything involving games. That sort of limitation.
The game was amazing. You shut your face.
Wayland Island was piss horrible.
I loved that game.
You could throw any number of walking simulator games into this category of taking
Island
themselves too hard. Yeah.
Wayland Island is another Amnesia clone. There's lots of them. They ranged in quality from nearly as good as Amnesia down to Wayland Island.
Yeah.
But there were loads. There was a rash of them that came out.
Wayland Island had a it was almost more because Outlast is an Amnesia clone, but it
Outlast is also, by the way, a great example of schlock horror that thinks it's being scary.
It kind of went into more of an Outlast direction, and that it wasn't being psychological, like Amnesia. It was more
Amnesia went psychological. It was already trying to tread the ground towards being like slasher.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean. Like, it didn't go fully into it, and they were definitely tried to jump into it with the DLC, and then with this newest game, I think it's a heck of a lot more slasher.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, like at the start of it.
Yeah.
Definitely, thematically they had similarities. Outlast too, and it was a lot more.
Well, the first Outlast
taking itself more seriously, I think, into.
at the very beginning of the first Outlast, you could totally tell they were trying to take it psychological. But slowly, as that game progresses, it's like this isn't really
Well,
psychological.
it's like they blew their wad in the
Definitely
first
doesn't end
hour and a half
Yeah.
in terms of like good ideas, and then it's like, oh, just throw in another pastiche of jump scares for the next like hour and a half, 2 hours. Have Chris rock around 5 more times. Why don't we just keep doing that shit? Because obviously we've given up.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of actually an interesting point about schlock horror is that the ESRB wouldn't have really come into being were it not for a schlock horror game. Technically almost 2,
That's true, yeah.
depending on how you class Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Because
Mortal
Trap.
Kombat definitely has a horror theme to it, but isn't necessarily a horror game, obviously.
But Night Trap
Very
definitively
obviously
is a
not.
horror game, and has the dual dubious pleasure of being like the first live action
Night Trap.
Yeah.
game, and it stars the chick from Different Strokes who killed herself. So that's a happy postscript about that.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna bring up a few games like that since I've
the
played.
important
a few
thing about
of them,
Night Trap
but,
is that the ESRB was formed around it.
Yeah.
As adult content in video games, which was but Night Trap, schlock horror gave us, ratings in games. So thanks, Night Trap.
Eventually would have happened with any other thing. As well.
I mean, it's only because
Doom was not Doom and if I remember correctly, Doom and Duke Nukem also were part of the pre-rated games generation, and both of those games were kind of like looked at by people like maybe we should put a rating on games like this.
Yeah, this impact scene here was the one that primarily managed to piss people off.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And then in Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero rips somebody's head off and the spine is dangling. You're like, are they the same though?
Yeah.
But she's captured by vampires, which were oddly enough called augurs in this game, which is like fortune teller. But anyway, good job, Night Trap. But it's nonsense. It's terrible nonsense. It's not scary. It's not good. But it did give us the a very important point about the censorship of gaming and the rating system that was then applied, pretty much stemming from those 2 games.
Yeah. That's true. I never even thought of that.
That doesn't justify the entire genre, though. It should still be set on fire and in a bin.
I enjoy it.
There is not one game in that genre that the world couldn't do without. Because they're all rip-off clones of something.
That's true. For
they're
me,
all cheap, lazy design made by incompetence rather than like...
Sure, but I mean, for me personally, I feel like it boils down to being able to,
It was violence against women, Tina.
take everything a little less seriously sometimes, and that's the levity that schlock horror provides. I don't know.
I mean, there's a
enjoy
psychological imperative in humanity, right?
Yeah.
I like
people will laugh at things that frighten them to make them less frightening, which is the whole crux of parodical horror, which is where like trauma gets its horrible beginnings, and that's a very normal human psychological characteristic, right? Policemen do it, and military staff.
That's normal.
Oh yeah, everybody, it's
freaked out.
It's so very common. People laugh at things that frighten them and stuff like that to diminish them. The reason that it's such a terrible thing for the genre as a whole is because when you've laughed once at a thing, the entire thing becomes less frightening. So if you've ever laughed at Dusk Till Dawn or The Lost Boys or...
Dusk Till Dawn is laugh worthy though. There's points in that movie where it's just...
sure.
Between laughing because you're scared and laughing because you're not scared.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But if you ever find it funny, then you don't find it frightening anymore. And this is why the entire genre needs to be like exorcised to its own filthy pit.
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily stopped finding vampires frightening because I was able to finally laugh at them.
Oh, I'm not saying that is the root of it on its own. Okay, maturity, various factors
Sure.
will play a
Yeah.
part in this, right? But this aspect, this levity towards horror, diminishes horror as a whole, which is and it leaves it in this sort of kind of murky, half-hearted area where suddenly you've either got to be innovative to be scary.
Well, I feel like just like anything in life, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. So I feel like if horror was just all about just being scary all the time, like that's all horror was, then it would lose.
I think once you've been exposed to something like that a couple of times, it loses its scare factor, even if you're not laughing at it. Because you're seeing it, you know, it becomes less scary because it's known. And
your favorite vampire movie never mentions vampires, so is it a vampire movie? If it's got vampires in it, it is.
My favorite vampire movie never mentions vampires, so is it a vampire? Is this a riddle?
No, it sounds like, you know, let the right one in.
Oh. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah. But, you know, Near Dark, yeah, of course it's a vampire movie. Just because they don't call them vampires.
There's a few movies where they don't actually say, well, you know, there's a movie.
I tend to agree,
It's
though.
still a zombie movie.
I tend to agree, though, in some
loads of stuff that
cases.
doesn't get. Yeah, I mean, I don't think actually at any point in The Walking Dead are they ever called zombies.
No, they're all called different things.
Yeah.
Things like walkers
That's
and
definitely to push
crap like
the
that.
whole idea that, you know, like once the whole world is broken down, there's no communication, so no one knows exactly what to call them.
Exactly.
I tend to.
But no one calls them zombies, which quite frankly is ludicrous in that world.
Yeah.
There's like, why does nobody anywhere call these things zombies?
Is that not in the vocabulary at
So-
all in
so-
this
so
universe?
what, in the world of The Walking Dead, were there no zombie movies prior to the apocalypse?
Never.
That feels confusing.
Yeah. I tend to agree with what you're saying in a different sense, though, about it kind of being a bit of a pollution, in that if you laugh at something too much, not so much that it doesn't become scary anymore. And we started to talk about this a little bit, but it can be this slippery slope to where, like, where's the line drawn between something that's schlocky and on purpose, and that's where you have to understand like the nuances of horror, but something between schlocky and something that's just flat out depraved. Like if you think about Human Centipede 1 and Human Centipede 2, which
Yeah, there's a third one of those.
I know, and
Final
I
Strain or whatever the fucking
I
hell it's
won't
called.
watch it because I won't.
I mean,
2 was
they're
enough.
never worth watching.
I made
No.
the mistake of watching the first
They're also
one.
not horror movies,
No.
as it happens.
No, but like in that way, I mean, that could be considered horror. I mean, I certainly found the first one to be a little horrible, in a sense. Like I thought, I texted my friend and I was like, "We are never going to."
Disgusting.
I was like, "We're never going to Germany."
Well,
like,
I feel like when it comes to torture porn in general, there's obviously
That's-
has to be some
Sure.
kind of horror to it.
But I guess that's kind of what I'm saying is there's a line between like that schlocky kind of something's really gory and then it's just flat out torture porn, and there's a gray area, or there becomes
Oddly
a gray
enough,
area when
the
you
grey
start
area-
yelling, or not yelling, but when you start laughing at stuff, you know.
I mean, oddly enough, the grey area is entirely to be blamed upon the writer,
Yeah.
because horror, in fact, stems from your association with the main characters.
Mhm.
And all of torture porn, mostly because it's all written by Eli I'm a cunt Roth.
They're characters that you hate, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because he can't write characters that are likable. Like, universally, they're absolute shits. Like, without question, within 5 minutes of the movie, you're like, yeah, I hope you all die. I'm gonna be laughing like hell when you do. I cannot wait to see you die horribly, because you are awful.
Yeah.
Awful people. And that's the problem. If you write characters that the audience instinctively dislikes or doesn't care about, then you're not afraid when they're put in any danger. Like Joss Whedon always said about Buffy, that if he ever wanted to hurt the audience, he just attacked either Willow or Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, no,
because
we know.
that was like the easy part. Yeah, we get it. Joss.
I know.
I don't talk about it.
You ginger cunt, fuck you. But no, but that's what he always said, was because, you know, he has characters that are super relatable, and because of that, the audience hurts when they hurt, and that is the exact opposite of Eli Roth, who makes characters you're like, oh, sick, he just had his head cut off. and his stomach's being pulled out through his neck.
Yeah, and like usually, I guess
That's
for
one of
me,
them.
I find like you'll watch some movies like that, and that can be a funny point because it's so over the top and overdone, and then you've got that, just 2 steps over, you've got some shit like Hostel or Hostel 2, where it's the same amount of gore, but it's too real, and the characters are unlikable, but it's I don't know,
Can we just say, by the way, Hostel 2, thank you, Eli Roth, for doing the exact same movie. The difference is it's with girls.
Christ,
thank you. You are the master filmmaker. You have changed horror for the better.
Once I watched the first one, I was done. And then once I watched the first Centipede, I was done. And anytime someone goes, hey, you should watch this because it's like Hostel or the Human Centipede, I don't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, that for me is like, you should do this because it's like being smashed in the face with a hammer. You what? Well, I won't do that then. I would really like it, but I don't want to be smashed in the face with a hammer.
Yeah, to me, that's where the danger in schlock can occur, because some movies that are considered fun and schlocky are not too far away from casually being looped in with something like that, which we all agree is just gross, and not horror at all.
I think overwhelmingly the one thing, no matter what, is that we don't really appreciate. Well, we do. There's like an extent to appreciation, but we don't really enjoy the Human Centipede torture porn kind of stuff. So.
Well, that's only because it's terrible garbage. I mean, it's only because it's really badly written and terribly acted and directed by a cunt. What's your name?
I feel like Eli Roth was trying to bring over like Japanese flavor, but he completely missed the point of it, because they have their own version of trauma.
What, like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Tokyo Horror.
Yeah, Tokyo Horror is great. But
love that movie.
he doesn't do it. He doesn't execute it at all the way they do, because it's Japanese. I don't know what they're doing over there with horror.
Eli Roth's main fight is against himself, because he takes himself too seriously. The reason that Wes Craven can still put out a movie every once in a while that's just different, new, and entertaining, that's just completely different than everything he's ever done before, is because he doesn't take himself too seriously. Eli Roth takes himself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's obvious in every single thing that he does.
Even though it was about a child murderer, it was never serious. He was always a bit of a jokey character. He was scary in places and intimidating in places and kind of funny in places. Even in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Mm-hmm. Even though he was a child murdering, blade-handed, burn victim monster thing.
Yeah, the first movie is so creepy, but there is funny parts. And then, like, as he progressed, he put more funny parts in there, because he was like, I can't take this completely seriously. The guy is running through people's nightmares, killing them. Like, he'll go into a bedroom with, like, there was a scene.
If you're out
one or something.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've watched any of them, I probably wouldn't remember. But there's, like, there's obviously scenes where, happy-go-lucky things. Like, you can't not make that funny in some way.
It's crazy to me that Saw has 7 movies. I just happened to see the chat. There are 7.
I actually met the guy who wrote the last few Saw movies.
Really?
Did you punch him squarely in the face? That feels like a missed opportunity otherwise.
Insidious movies, I think, too.
I really liked the first Saw.
First Saw.
I couldn't get into the rest of them, and I feel like it's because they stopped taking themselves as seriously, which is odd. But I liked how kind of the first one took itself a little more seriously.
Dollars in Saw 3.
It was creepy, and
and it also had
I liked it
and stuff.
But the rest of them, I think I only made it as far as 3, maybe.
I watched the second one and I was done. I was just like, this. I know exactly where this series is gonna go. So
5 or 9 or whichever.
I love Carrie Elways. He
cuts his
If only Carrie Elways had ever done one good movie.
I'm gonna go get help.
Fuck you, Adam.
Like, even one movie that wasn't truly bad. If only he'd done.
Pride, you son of a bitch! Don't make me hit you.
If only Carrie Elways had starred in one movie that wasn't truly awful.
I hate you right at this exact moment. I hate you. I hate you with a passion of 1,000 suns. You cannot tell me that Princess Bride is a bad fucking movie.
No, the Princess Bride is one of the best
relationship over.
Of all time.
I guess.
Friends.
Yeah.
Friendship over.
I guess we have to. We started going down this path because we were trying to make a distinction between like
we got off topic?
Yeah, schlocky horror and stuff that's just like in our opinion just not even worth mentioning. You know.
In terms of games actually don't often do schlock.
Yeah, not as well because it's hard for them to admit that they don't want to take themselves seriously.
Well, they cannot take themselves seriously, but you can't if you don't take yourself seriously as a horror game, you almost can't market yourself as a horror game.
Yeah.
Which is what they want to do because they want to market themselves to horror fans.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're treating it like a jokey kind of scenario, Spooky's House of Jump Scares would be really a good example. Which is not taking itself seriously at all. But it wants to market itself to horror fans, which becomes a kind of a clangy issue because you need the horror tag on Steam, right? Or things to that effect. And you can't exist in a world where that doesn't happen for you, you know?
Yeah.
The Princess Bride is fine, okay? I'm only kidding with Aviana. It's a fine movie that stars Columbo as a grandfather and has a wrestler in it as one of the main characters. And for some reason, the guy from, like, what's that spy thing with Claire Danes?
Homeland? Oh, yeah.
He's in that as well, Mr. Inigo Montoya.
Yep, he's a teacher at the Columbia School of Arts in Chicago too.
Yeah, he actually sounds like a really cool guy as well. He does like
tons of charity stuff,
musicals cool and stuff. He sounds like he sounds like a really sick guy actually.
Would you say that like most anything, I feel like when I think of a lot of schlocky horror, I'm kind of thinking back to like I'm usually looking at dated movies, and they're dated for a reason because they use practical effects. They look schlocky now. Similar for games, would you say that the schlock factor for games is really it's in their age and their limited mechanics?
I mean, that's certainly. That can be a part of it, but then
they by accident just kind of become schlocky, you know.
It's almost as if the Silent Hill effect of like the mist works in reverse for certain games. So like the mist effect, which everybody hailed as like this most amazing move to like cover draw distance and shit like that.
Yeah.
But then everybody's like, oh, but it's such an atmospheric thing, and this is so cool. And it's almost like the direct opposite happens with schlock, when their limited capacity or whatever makes it look tawdry and cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, there just aren't. I mean, things like Night Trap would be. I mean, nowadays, Schlocky would cover things like Until Dawn.
That I was going to bring that one up. I would agree. Like, some people were actually a little, but I think Until Dawn is actually a good.
Until Dawn is Night Trap, but
it's a good example of a recent kind of AAA title that would fulfill the schlock factor. Even though some people were actually scared by it. I don't know any of these people, but yeah.
but there are people who get scared by like bunnies, I guess.
Yeah, it's
bunnies, bunnies, it must be bunnies.
But it's a good example of like for something like us, it was. I mean, I don't think you hated it, but you just certainly didn't care for it.
I killed every single person in Until Dawn,
but
I was really happy about it.
Did you have fun with it though?
I had fun killing them.
Yeah.
I had fun with the murder simulator that Until Dawn became for me, with every character being dislikable shits. It was not hard to murder. Actually, it was hard because I had to really work
kill
to kill
Emily.
Emily.
Yeah,
she was a bitch to kill.
Yeah,
you had to really fucking make an effort to kill her.
Because they don't want you to actually kill her in the game. They make it harder. Kind of go out of your way to figure out.
Eventually, I had to have her getting chased by a Wendigo and literally just hold the controller in the air and have her running into pipes and stuff. So eventually, it finally killed her.
That's that's brilliant though. Like people who hate it, you immediately want to kill her, and they make it as difficult as possible to do it.
Oh yeah, like some of the likable characters, I accidentally killed them.
Yep. That's on purpose.
And we've talked like long before we started the podcast about how we'd love to see them like start doing sequels to Until Dawn that are different stories, kind of, but that similar kind of.
So it can
Plus-
still be
plus, you know,
Until
be a
Dawn, like the
story.
idea of like a story that starts like right as soon as the sun goes down and keeps going, but like it's the same kind of like slasher horror kind of thing.
I actually think Until Dawn was great until the Wendigos got in.
Yeah, the Wendigo thing kind of.
When it was a slasher film, it was kind of not terrible.
I
Yeah.
kind of wish that if they would have added the Wendigos, it would have been at the very, very tail end of the game. But they kind of prolonged the whole Wendigo thing a little bit too much for me. And then they also added in like some of the characters, you know, becoming a part of it, you know?
Hayden Panettiere was very hard to kill as well. Like, you really got to try to kill that bitch. But yeah, Until Dawn would be a latter day example of Schlock. That was the main character, the chick who was in Heroes, I think.
Yeah.
Is it the
I
blonde?
only know this. Yeah, the blonde girl, yeah.
Okay.
Who was running around in a towel half the
The
time.
one that's like made out of steel and concrete combined until the last scene where you just like give up and she's just like, oh, the house blows up. Fuck you, Hayden, and your mate, and everyone else in this game. And now I'm going to play Journey. That's pretty much how that day went. And it was much better for it. Actually, it was the other way around. But I played Journey and then had my day ruined by Until Dawn. But you know, that would be an example of latter day schlock. And there really isn't very many examples of that because slasher films don't get made into games in this way. Friday the 13th actually is an example of schlock.
Yeah. I thought
both
that
the
they
NES
did it
version
perfect.
and the updated current multiplayer battle arena thing that they've got going on.
Yeah.
It's pretty schlocky.
Yeah.
It's not, but because it's based so faithfully on the show, on the movies, you can't really accuse it of schlock unless you, because it would be like accusing like Alien Isolation of being retro in its graphical stylings. It's like, yeah, because they exactly copied the show. Oh yeah. So Friday the 13th is a good example of. Dead by Daylight would be a better example because it's bad as well.
I suppose. I guess it depends on how we're defining schlock, like in a sense, or is it is an overall encompassing thing, or are we specifically talking about like mechanically it's terrible, you know, or is it all around story wise and everything?
Like, mechanically, it's terrible because something like Machine for Pigs is terrible.
Yeah,
but it's not schlock.
I feel like when it comes to schlock and Until Dawn looked at schlocky horror films, just like Scream looked at schlocky horror films and said, you know, like, we want to make this, but in such a way that it's not necessarily schlocky because we actually have the graphics, the ability to make it kind of cool. So it's like based in schlocky, but like made better. I feel like that's kind of like, so that I don't really consider Until Dawn to be a schlocky thing, but it's definitely has roots in like a schlocky kind of genre. That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess when I think about schlock, I'm specifically thinking like mostly stories and themes, and I definitely consider Until Dawn to be kind of schlocky because of the slasher and the whole Wendigo thing.
So we're just okay. So we're discussing schlocky in the sense of like
go with
theme and story as opposed to like gameplay.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because like I would consider
we
Ritual
can't
on
work
Whalen
with
Island
something that's really bad.
Yeah.
As schlock in the terms of we mean it, because also Whalen Island is no worse or better than any other crappy walking simulator.
Yeah,
it mechanically plays the same.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, technically, that's what Until Dawn is with a few button pushes.
That's why I didn't hate it, but like I'm looking through this list that Avi had sent over, specifically the one with the turd at the top that says truly horrible games. And
there's one that's like good and bad, so watch, because some of the ones that I was like, this is a bad one, and then I like looked at the top and it's like, no, this is the good one. There's
a game listed like 3 or 4 down on this one. It's 5, and it's one that your boy Daquan got me. It's called The Youth Drainers. I made it about 11 minutes in. It's the worst game I've ever played. It's supposed to be horror, but it like mechanically was terrible and thematically wasn't even scary. Like I had no idea what was going on. Stuff like that is just awful. Shouldn't even be considered horror or anything, you know, just total trash.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, and there are lots of games that fall into the just trash.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, this list That's hilariously, and this makes me want to literally
The first
discard this list completely. The scariest at number 2 is Dead by fucking Daylight. One of the scariest games of all
Ew,
time.
no. And
Well, I
lamest
just
is
grabbed those.
Friday
I
the
don't
13th
even agree with
NES.
those lists that I posted. I just grabbed them because they gave us ideas of games we could talk about if we ran out of games to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely, no, you're right. I mean, no, Dead by Daylight, just to defend that point, is I would say not schlocky mechanically. It's bad mechanically. It's because it's very poorly made by idiots who hate games fans. But no, they're not competent game developers, though. All right, they're competent, but they're really, really fucking lazy. It's got to be one of those 3.
I think the atmosphere of it, for me, because there isn't really one, it's just the atmosphere is just multiplayer. Whereas Friday the 13th has that little bit of slasher. You kind of feel like you're role playing some slasher movie.
At least Friday the 13th it makes an effort to actually thematically stick,
and it does fit into schlock. Whereas Dead by Daylight, to me, I don't consider it a horror game at all or anything close to it.
Barely consider it a game.
Oh my god, Adam, Jesus! It's still a game. People play it. They enjoy it when they play it.
Yeah, but people play the flute as well.
Fucking go play a flute for all. I wanted to point out, somebody in the chat said that Until Dawn is a lot more game than a walking sim, and I would actually agree with that, because Until Dawn is supposed to be a choose your adventure novel made.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Telltale is, as opposed to I completely agree. Like Wayward Island or whatever is totally has to be a walking sim, because you don't choose your own adventure. It kind of just happens the way it's going to happen. You just walk through the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a choose your own adventure, as you say. It's a Telltale, and then they're all fine. And in fact, you know, they are a good area for schlock, but they won't really get used in that way, because again, certainly things like Telltale, they very much take themselves seriously, but that's okay because they deliver on the product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, most people end up crying like a beaten child at the end of the first season of The Walking Dead, and that's not uncommon, you know. And then everybody's like mildly disappointed at the second season, but you know, that they are really pushing the hard, take themselves seriously, deliver a story that really, you know, drags at the heartstrings kind of concept. But they are actually the perfect area for schlocky, silly, overblown nonsense horror, which is why Deadly Premonition so often gets like slammed in this arena.
Oh,
I
God,
can't even believe.
I was waiting for somebody to say something.
I can't believe this is even on a list, because one, I don't consider it to be a horror game at all.
Dead by Daylight's on the list. Dead by Daylight's on the list.
That's true. That's true. Deadly Premonition isn't a horror game, but two, whoever played this and threw it on the list completely didn't understand it. Clearly, because they put it on this list.
It's funny because I don't care nearly as much about Deadly Premonition as these two, so I'm super not offended by this.
There's parts of Deadly Premonition where I can see somebody be like, "Oh, this is horror-esque."
The reason it gets stuffed into horror is the same reason that Twin Peaks gets stuffed into horror.
Yeah.
Neither of them actually legitimately are, but they have
Deadly Premonition
tropes and
is fucking
elements.
Twin Peaks. I mean, I know people are going to argue with chat about this. It's like a very long age.
No, they are the same thing.
People see something horrible, therefore they relate it to horror, but it doesn't make it so, you know. That's the kind of the long and short of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but no, Deadly Premonition is actually a schlocky game.
Oh, it totally is a schlocky game. Yeah,
it's a perfect example of that kind of silly, overblown. But they're very aware of it because they're aping Twin Peaks, which was also aware of it, of what it was doing. It wasn't confusing the issue. BioShock gets put into the horror a lot. Yeah, it should, and it doesn't. But it shouldn't, and it does. Sorry, BioShock does get dumped into horror a lot.
Well, I can see where that it has a horror. Especially the first one has very like horror atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like it's very like creepy, like under the water. Like what's gonna happen around this corner? Like dark. It's got the atmosphere of a horror.
To an extent.
Like somebody in chat just like Twin Peaks is horror. It's not really horror, but there's definitely some horror aspects to it. You know what I mean? Like you said, like there's like the horrible
Well, yeah.
portions to it.
Yeah, you see something that's just horrible or hard to sit through, and people will associate it with horror, but it's not. Doesn't thematically fall into.
BioShock is always the first BioShock. Certainly, is always a case that it gets lumped in. Generally speaking, not least of which because it was made by the same people that made System Shock, which is definitively a horror.
Mm-hmm.
BioShock 1. Somebody's saying it's like because BioShock has jump scares. I feel like BioShock 1 has like maybe 3 jump scares that I can think of, but most of the scary parts are actually pretty scary.
I think
it's mostly atmosphere.
Yeah, I think it's atmosphere, and upon your like first impression of playing it, like even if you only play it for like a couple of hours, then you never return to it. You'll probably, because this is what happened to me, and I didn't touch it for years. And I never considered it a horror game, but I definitely thought that shit was scary when I first started in because you don't really know what you're getting into. But now that I've played it, I wouldn't consider it a horror game. It's got some stuff in it that could be considered, you know.
I feel like the very
creepy.
first like chapter of the game is pretty horror, and then it kind of starts to kind of bend away from that a little bit with the doctor who does the plastic surgery and all that kind of stuff. That part of the game is very horror because it's like all stuck in that one area, and you're people talking in the distance, and you can't exactly see them around a corner or stuff like that. And then it slowly starts to kind of break away from that into like a new thing.
No, don't worry, Flameface. Out of the 3 of us, she's the actual only person here who doesn't like horror.
Wait, what?
He asked if I played System Shock, and I have not yet.
That's why we put her in the middle. She's just a newcomer to horror.
Yes, that's exactly the case.
I couldn't
precisely
that. I couldn't
precisely
that.
Yes.
No, but moving back to Schlock and away from the classification of BioShock. There definitely needs to be an element of self-knowledge, I think, about Schlock. Like, otherwise you just have something that is bad, right? If it lacks the self-awareness that it's being sort of faintly silly, then BioShock isn't Schlock at all.
Don't even shoot out.
No. Harvester is Schlocky.
Harvester is Schlocky because it's aware of its own terribleness. Phantasmagoria is Schlock because it's aware of its own. I
was going to bring that one up too, because I was just going through my clips and there's a bunch from Phantasmagoria, and I was like, oh, this is perfect for today.
Phantasmagoria is absolutely Schlock, and you know, these are a game has to or a show or whatever for it to fall broadly into Schlock rather than just being bad. It needs to have that self-awareness. It needs to have a foreknowledge that it is attempting to not be 100% serious. You know, which is why you could almost classify like Nightmare on Elm Street as like Schlock horror.
Yeah, I would totally call it.
Nobody has stated that. Tina literally said the direct definition above you in the chat about 3 pages up, but Schlock is a Yiddish word meaning crappy.
Yeah. I mean, also let me Google that for you.
Well, here JT just posted it.
Yeah, JT just reposted it.
I posted the definition, and then Tina posted the Yiddish.
But yeah, so it has to have a awareness of its own terribleness, because if it doesn't, then you get, because like you can't classify Ride to Hell Retribution as schlocky, right? Because it's really terrible, okay, but not knowingly. They were really trying to make a kind of a, rough and ready Sons of Anarchy kind of noise here. I think you're getting raided by someone. I
am. Thanks for the raid. We turn off all alerts because there's 3 of us. We don't want to show favoritism. But thank you, Taylor, for the raid and the host. Welcome on in. This is Hellmouth. It's a podcast where we talk about horror games. And Taylor's playing Demon Souls, which is not a horror game at all. Anyway.
although in a lot of ways, quite horrible.
Yes.
Mostly just the mechanics surrounding like worlds. Kitsch
might be a better word since schlock is just cheap shit. I suppose You could say that. I mean, I chose Schlocky just because whatever.
I mean,
but
Schlocky's got definitely got more resonance as a term.
yeah.
Adam hates things. I do hate some things.
He does.
But some things are absolutely
Some.
deserving of hate, though.
Some.
Not everything. There's some really great stuff. You can
Yeah.
name some, but not in my accent.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Amnesia, the
Probably
greatest game ever made.
It's like you're
Not
from
you.
London. But
Yeah.
no. There's some amazing stuff, but you know, this is the thing. This is what distance is, though. Your schlock or kitsch or whatever you want to describe it as, from simply stuff that is terrible, right? And you can see it in all the things. Until Dawn knows what it's doing, right?
Yeah.
It's fully aware that it's making the characters shitty and then making them hard to kill, as you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
It makes the ones that you want to kill hard to kill, and the ones you don't want to kill
die
easy to
like
kill.
you know, if you shut a door wrong, then the head explodes or something.
Yeah.
And you know, it knows what it's doing. Friday the 13th is very, very aware of what it's doing. Like that's why when the campers are running away from Jason, they've got this permanently locked, slap ass, stupid expression on their face.
Yes.
It's
yes.
my favorite thing.
You don't need to do that. Okay, but it's done with a purpose, which is to be a bit silly
Yeah.
about the whole thing, you know? And, you know, some of the kills are truly ludicrous. Some of them are quite, you know, gruesome, but about half of them are just silly funny. And one of them, the throw through the window one, I still don't understand how that kills the person.
Because the window is jagged, so you know, just getting scraped just causes
So
you
what
to
that does
explode.
is, like, you know, lacerate your arms a bit on the way through, I guess, and then you just die of shock.
What you don't see, Adam, is that one of those little pieces of glass just
Jammed
literally
right in
shoved
the eye.
itself into your heart, and you're dead.
Motherfuckers. But you know, it's designed to be like that, and you know, the campers are. I mean, obviously they're pulled from Friday the 13th lore anyway, but they are, you know, two-dimensional caricatures, right? You know, there's the goth one and the girl in hot pants and this guy with the fucking sweater vest and all the things, right? All the campers are hemophiliac. Very possible, yes.
I'm looking through I'm looking through this 6 most horrifically bad horror games ever, and
everything on that list is actually bad.
Yeah.
Rather than schlock, with the possible exception
there's
of
a couple of them that I
5.
like.
Druna Morbis Gravis is schlocky, but that's more because it's cheap and exploitative. I suppose it's more like
Poor control, an intuitive interface, time limits, ugly graphics, grating music, one of the worst save game systems ever devised.
I mean, these games are more designed around just being terrible shit rather than being.
Yeah, I'd rather talk about the schlocky games that are like oh, these are schlocky, but yeah, and, you know, they're kind of fun maybe.
Well, you know, I may hate Dead by Daylight, but it's not. It isn't to take aside from the fact that a lot of people really don't hate it. Okay, but you are either playing, you know, two-dimensional runaway characters being chased by a murderer, often from films, who sacrifices people to a spider god in a field.
Yeah, I didn't
It's
understand
nonsense.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but it's aware that it's nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Either that or they have no fucking imagination, right? So they know what they're doing, yeah. And in this Dead Rising, and yes, Dead Rising would be a great example.
Of schlock.
Dead Rising's
schlock.
pretty schlock, yeah.
Dead Rising's the one where you walk around beating like zombies up with a teddy bear, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
or you dress
Yeah.
like Mega Man, yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of schlock. It's nonsense. It's silly. It's designed to be. It's Saints Row after Saints Row 2. So 3 and 4 and 5 and whatever. If they were horror games, would be schlock. Right? As it is, they're, I suppose, schlock gangster sims or something like that. But there's that self-aware parody at work in all of those games. And they're designed to be silly rather than accidentally silly. Or accidentally bad, you know, when they were trying to make something good.
Yeah. I think a lot of zombie games immediately go to schlock just because it's easy and zombies kind of the mainstream schlock place to go because it's easy. It's low hanging fruit, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing you can do with zombies is either take it super, super serious and like almost ignore the zombies, which is what The Walking Dead does, and make the whole horror human horror, which is what they do, right? The zombies are there just to stimulate human horror. What is he doing right now in this video? I am never going to play this game. What was that? The Zangief haymaker move?
I think.
Jesus fucking Christ, it was, wasn't it? I wonder if The Last of Us will ever get schlocky. Well, not yet. It was not in the game that you're going to play all the way through, Tina. No. I don't think there's any point in Last of Us that gets schlocky.
Is very much in the genre. Necessarily about the zombies. That's what gets you between story. And I feel
it's the same kind of concept.
If they don't jump the shark, like slowly Walking Dead is kind of doing, I think they'll be fine.
Well, The Last of Us certainly hasn't. I mean, certainly not in any point in the first Last of Us does it get schlocky.
No, not at all.
They definitively handle the story with poise and grace.
And the story is really well done. And
yeah. And they really make an effort. I mean, The Last of Us is so much like The Walking Dead Season 1, but mechanically different. You know, it's a stealth shooter versus a point and click. But in terms of how seriously they take the human interaction, the drama, the emotional hooks, it's the same kind of concept. Yeah, Saints Row 2 was the serious one. I'm talking about after Saints Row 2, when it got, like, purple dildos everywhere.
Yeah,
the DLC, if anything, is better than the main story for The Last of Us, I would say. But yeah, you know, those games might, in theory, but it's unlikely because what people like about The Last of Us is the immense heart-stringing, dramatic pull and the depth and three-dimensionality and all the things. You know, that's the joy of those games, and we don't want it to get silly fun. Because if we wanted to be silly fun, we'd just play Dead fucking Rising.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good like schlock example, I would say, because it set out to do exactly what it did, and and
it was being silly about it.
Dead Rising, and stuff. Dead Island was another one that did that, and it was more poorly executed, but had its fun moments.
Would we consider Lucius schlock then?
Oh my god, I would. Yeah.
Yes.
Lucius is definitely schlock, I would say.
Why do you even exist, Lucius?
Oh, I love that game though. That was a great time in Jade's stream, let me tell you. That was
the game, man.
I was so excited when she'd start streaming that game.
Oh man.
But yes, Lucius is definitively schlock. Actually, Lollipop Chainsaw, oddly enough, is a really good example of a schlock horror game because it's so absolutely not taking itself seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing about it is actually frightening in any way, but nothing about schlock is
not a horror. No, it's an action adventure.
Well, it is an action adventure, but it's certainly like, because it is so silly and buffy and quirky and quippy, and it's a cheerleader with a chainsaw and stuff like that. Mechanically, it's not horror in any sense. There's no atmosphere at work here.
Lucius 2,
there's no atmosphere at work.
That was a difference. Like Lucius 2, they changed the gameplay, and they I feel like Lucius 1 they were aware of what they were doing, but they were still a little serious about it. And then the second one, it's like they were trying to be too serious about not being serious, if that makes sense. And they just went too fucking far. Like,
by the way, I wouldn't say that Manhunt is schlock. Manhunt is intentionally being dark and unpleasant. Manhunt is verging on the edge of things like the Human Centipede, in that it's trying to be shocking and horrible. A lot of the drive of Manhunt. Splatterhouse would be a great example of schlock. Right? Splatterhouse is super self-aware and silly a lot of the time. But yeah, this is schlock, and all of these things share the fact that the developers designed the game that you could laugh at, and very rarely are they in fact scary, if ever. I don't believe any of the schlocky games are actually scary. Until Dawn's not scary at all.
No.
Dead Rising isn't.
And we're not to say that these games don't have jump scares, but like we're saying, like, just scary.
Oh yeah, but you know, quite honestly, you know, done near somebody's ear will make them jump. You know, this is the. You don't
have to pay $60 for a game whenever I could just stand next to you and go.
Exactly, that's like you can generate a jump scare from anything, which is why it's the laziest kind of horror. we're looking at you, Five Nights at Freddy's. But you know, that's so. Yeah, Jalgrin. If you've never been here before, we meander off all the time on topics. If you expected us to stick to the same topic for the entire cast, you'll be disappointed every time you show up.
Well, we keep waffling too because we're trying to we're trying to get down to a path where we're talking about the ones that we enjoy, but Adam really doesn't enjoy any of these, and it's hard to drive the car in that direction when one person
let's talk about
when one person has to be a negative Nancy all the time.
Let's talk about the schlock horror ones that we enjoy.
Abby and I liked Lucius, and we liked
we love Lucius.
Ritual on Wayland Island. Those were two of them. Do we want to consider a Machine for Pigs to be schlock? I don't know that I would.
No, it's just terrible.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. God, I'm trying to think of some others that I had played.
Until
because I played so many
enjoyed
of them.
in the sense of killing the characters in it.
Bloodlines,
Peter Stormare was good.
Bloodlines isn't horror schlock, but it's still schlock, I feel.
Bloodlines. The thing of it is that the actual roleplay game takes itself super seriously.
Yeah.
But the computer game, really doesn't. Because the roleplay and
that line of I was a Vampire the Masquerade like tabletop and LARPer for years, and when I play that or watched people play that game, it's like it makes fun of all the things that I always knew were a little bit cheesy about the things that I was doing. About, and it just
if you talk to like proper vampire players, they are like hardcore serious. They will not accept any sort of criticism or even jokes made about the subject. You know, if you're playing a Malkavian, you're insane. You're not funny insane. You're mad, and they're really, really serious. But Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines isn't. It's definitively not. Like, there's moments in that game where you are very aware that this is just silly.
Yeah,
I think in a way they're talking about how we're kind of switching up definitions of schlock. I think in a way what we're kind of doing is, even though schlock in general is supposed to mean like crap or shit, we kind of are classifying like schlock as being crap or shit, but it knows it is and is okay with that, and it's okay with being good. I guess because it's that it's still good.
I guess that's the
like trauma. Trauma is a good. I think is probably the best way to define the kind of schlock we're talking about.
Yeah,
I think so.
Stuff that, and I guess the big
about the games that we consider the worst games in horror. Because if we were doing that, we'd be heading right in the direction of things like, you know,
stuff that we didn't enjoy.
Yeah, truly gut-wrenching Nightcry, you know, games that are mechanically awful, or games that are like painfully poorly written.
The youth drainers.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff we'd be talking about if we were talking about games that are actually terrible.
Yeah. But there's stuff that we know is terrible, and it knows it's not the greatest, but we maybe still enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's kind of the shock we're talking about.
Phantasmagoria was a
well aware that they're being silly and kind of crappy.
Hey, Mr. Creep.
Hello, Mr. Creep. Thanks for the host.
You know, but this is the distinction, isn't it, between horror that is aware that it's stupid and is possibly, you know, following in the footsteps of things like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Where as opposed to horror that does not think it's stupid. That is following like something like Halloween 1, and horror that doesn't think it's stupid but actually is like something along the lines of Halloween 7.
Yeah.
You know, like they're still taking themselves seriously at that point, but the movies are really shit. Whereas the first one, they're taking themselves seriously and it's good. You know. And then there's something like Nightmare on Elm Street, which is actually good, but it's taking itself not really seriously. You know, there are some moments in Nightmare on Elm Street that are truly upsettingly scary. You know, and like some amazing practical effects that, you know, everybody remembers the bed pushed out, the wall coming out over the top of the girl as she's sleeping moment in Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's staggeringly well done. You take that back right now.
Oh, what? You're talking about Through the Woods, which had a lot. It was marketed as a horror game, and it thematically had a lot of that stuff to it. It was, the sound design was great, But then you like almost immediately encounter this troll that does nothing to you. Like it did at first. It was a weird. It was kind of janky mechanically, but it was fun to play. It was fun to play. That I would kind of consider schlocky, although I think they were trying to take themselves seriously.
Fun to play has to be an element of schlock, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we can't be talking about bad.
It's real subjective because
Well, even I mean, I can accept what you guys are saying about Lucius or whatever being fun. It's not a problem. I'm not confused by what you mean.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
This is not mechanically terrible. It's a bit clunky, and it's not beautifully made, but it's not garbage. Whereas there are some games, certainly in horror, that are actual garbage, where playing them hurts and it's painful and it's boring. Anyone play any of the Clock Tower games? Of course.
First one, awesome. Second one, shit. Third one, fun action adventure horror game. Yeah.
No, we wouldn't probably consider those schlocky, even though they're mechanically dated, because they're effectively atmospheric enough.
Well, and also mechanical dating, you can't really talk. Is not a fair measure of a game's quality, because like Resident Evil 2 is one of the better horror games of all time, and I'm sure, having watched Jade play it, that the mechanical dating of the controls are annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I played Resident Evil 4 the other day, and I was annoyed by the controls.
I remember the first time I played Resident Evil 2, I had such a horrible time.
Yeah, it's
how to walk that I threw it down because I was frustrated. And
it's hard to overcome those, but the atmosphere is still there. Like if it's truly good, then it maintains whatever it truly tried to be doing.
I think that's definitely true, and obviously you get used to those controls as well. But this is the real distinction, and something that is like Friday the 13th, the NES game, would be a good example of a game that's actually really, really terrible.
You're talking, Bacon Dragon's talking, what was that crappy horror game Jade played that had the temples in the middle of the woods with the gazing demon that you had to hide from his giant red sight, but also had something chasing you? That was called Seeking Evil the Wendigo. And it was a walking simulator.
God, you play some garbage.
I really do.
You really do.
That one was bad. It had, I thought it sounded great, but the mechanics were crap from the get-go, and it just had nothing going for it. But it sounded like, on paper, I was like, I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I also was just like, I'll give it a shot. It could surprise me, It did not. At all.
Dante's Inferno, I believe, did take itself seriously. Yes, it was like Devil May Cry, but without the wit.
Yeah. I didn't hate Dante's Inferno, but it was definitely
it's not terrible. But what I'm saying is it was definitely taking itself seriously.
It was a clone of those, and it was taking itself seriously. Yeah.
But yeah, there are games I had fun with Until Dawn. Admittedly, not a lot of fun because the characters were all really unlikable. Right, and if there had been one or two characters I could have connected to, I'd have liked the game more, right? But I still had fun killing them for 8 hours or something. That was fun, and I wouldn't have had nearly as much fun if I wasn't streaming it. And this is a point that we're making, of course, is that we could stream it and it's fun, and it's more fun if we stream it than if we play it on our own.
Yeah,
but that's a worrying point, right? That's a concerning point because that kind of means that the game is terrible. And the only reason you're enjoying it is because you're all having a laugh about it together, right?
That's true, yeah.
And in the same way, Ride to Hell Retribution. Yeah, I had fun watching you play that game. It was funny.
It wasn't as bad as people were saying. We've just established I play some terrible games, and I've played worse than that one. And I guess that's kind of why I give some of those a chance, is because even though they're not great games and they're never going to be, some of them could be.
My main problem with Ride to Hell was things like, oh, you're about to be raped. Oh, but you've been saved by this guy. Oh, let's have sex.
Yeah.
Yes,
shit like that was so stupid and so... Through their jeans, no less. Both of them.
While wearing clothes the entire time, of course.
But
that's how sex works.
I agree. Stuff like that.
Take off your denim to have sex, apparently.
I'll give some.
Dragon Age Origins with the fucking sex scenes in your underwear.
I'll give some of that stuff a chance because, Daylight, for instance, I had heard was
Daylight is solid.
People didn't like it at all when it came out, and it was actually I was surprised. I thought it was pretty fun,
Daylight's all right. Yeah. Daylight's okay. It's not terrible.
We've established the ritual. Adam didn't care for the ritual on Wayland Island, but I was surprised by it.
gut-wrenchingly rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, if
it
it
was
had
better
any
than I.
attempt to-
Cheesy it was.
Yeah, it
though.
was
I
better.
loved it.
Yeah, that's why I liked it too. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I guess is the thing. It wasn't. It wasn't. It definitely was bad.
Had that game had shittier gameplay mechanics, it probably would have been bad.
Yeah.
But like because it was just enough for it to be okay, it was. I loved it. It was prime example of what I think schlocky fun is.
And then if you brought out Dread Out, which I only played about 20 minutes of
I
because
mean, the problem with Dread
That
Out
one
is
could have
that
been
Fatal
cloned.
Frame exists.
yeah, it was a clone and it was poorly
Like,
poor mechanics.
Honestly, I feel like
Yeah.
Dread Out wouldn't suffer. I mean, Dread Out is still quite bad. There's no two ways about that. It's not a good game. But if it weren't for the fact that Fatal Frame just exists sitting there going, oh, didn't you mean to do this? Wasn't this what you were trying to do the whole time? And they're like, yeah, kind of.
Let's see.
You know, that's the problem of Dread Out's existence, is that it cannot fail to get compared to Fatal Frame and suffer hideously in the comparison.
You guys have brought up Obscure, and I didn't hate that one. It definitely wasn't good, and it was definitely a clone that was taking itself too seriously, but I had fun with it.
Obscura was Obscura again it's not schlock because it really cares about what it's trying to deliver, even if it's delivering it poorly.
That's true. I would consider it that, but it's probably not actually because it does take itself too seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like any game that is taking itself really, really seriously, bad or good, cannot really be schlocky because it won't ever sort of fall into that, I don't know, concept of how we're using the term schlock anyway at this time.
Yeah.
Specifically for this episode, schlock is bad, but also so bad it's good. Trauma. But also, I'm
you
just
know,
gonna keep bringing this up so if people are new
Yeah.
to this,
We seem to have a lot of people who are kind of confused by our
how we're using the word.
yeah.
but yeah, we're not saying this is not the bad horror games episode. We'll probably have an episode where we trash the truly worst of horror, but we've mentioned it a lot anyway because they keep coming up periodically, and like
Yeah.
any Silent Hill after the third and so on.
Oh, Adam.
There's some schlock.
Oh,
Adam.
Any Silent Hill involved with the Wii.
Oh,
But,
Adam.
are we doing a Silent Hill episode next week?
Yeah, I
Is
believe
that what's happening next time?
I believe the next one, unless we want to
People
go in a
been
different
waiting.
direction, will be Silent Hill on Avi's channel.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have been waiting for this episode.
Yeah, a surprising
Jade
number of
will be
people
the
keep
referee
mentioning
in
it.
a fight of me and Adam. We will have to keep tally.
I'm
of
just gonna sit
who
there and
gets
play it
frozen.
like the jock jams through the thing, so you guys can really have it out.
But yeah, we'll do Silent Hill next time. Although Silent Hill is also guilty of falling into schlock.
I think
various
both
times.
Silent Hill and Resident Evil are guilty of it because
Oh yeah.
5 and
No,
6.
definitely the last.
Yeah.
Definitely 6. Jesus, 6. Oh, Resident Evil 6. Why were there boob physics on the 12-year-old girl from 2?
No one will ever
Why-
know, Adam.
Why
No
were
one
there
will ever know.
Why were there Jello physics on her? She was like 12 in Resident Evil 2. It's just not okay. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing that. And these are games that are that generated from a point of like masterpiece to a place of like grinding pain.
So I have a question since it's on one of these lists, one of these clickbaity lists that we have. Now that I've looked through the whole thing, and Outlast 2 is on one of them.
She's like 18 by the time that she has breast physics, but it's still gross.
Yeah.
It's like, your niece who was 5 years old, you've known all your life and you remember a 2-year-old and now she's in a
It's
miniskirt.
like Xander
Gross.
marrying Dawn.
Ah! It's not canon. It didn't happen. So shut up about
Didn't happen. Didn't happen.
it. Stop mentioning it, okay?
Would we consider Outlast 2 in this schlocky horror genre?
Nah, they
Oh,
take
man.
this really, really seriously.
Okay.
Like, I don't get me wrong. I get where you're coming from here because there are some like really tropey elements.
I mean,
to Outlast 2.
I'm not saying I'm agreeing. I'm just asking
No,
posing the
I-
question. Yeah.
It's an important question because there are some like gut-wrenching two-dimensional tropes in Outlast 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like some really, really tawdry stuff that's like out and out designed lazily, right? But it takes itself super seriously the whole time. Is really trying to make an insightful point, even though the point gets lost in the ending that's so confusing that you just want to kill someone. And especially if you don't find the certain document of magic that actually explains what the fuck's going on.
That's true, yeah.
That area that we told you not to go to.
Yeah, go to the area that we specifically like drive you away from, cunts. But I don't think it's schlock. I think it's just not very well realized.
Yeah.
You know, like it wanted to be.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a bad game either. It's just that it's not.
Well, all the stuff in the school is actually pretty good most of the time. I mean, there's a lot of running around and running away from things, but that's most of the game anyway.
Yeah.
But the stuff in the school is much better in terms of horror than the stuff in and around the religious community in Shitkick, wherever the fuck it is. Arizona or whatever part of the world it's in.
Okay. Yeah.
That's not, you know, it's not that it's schlocky, it's just that it's poor, I suppose. It's like, it takes itself super seriously, though. You can't, there's no point where they're making a joke.
Yeah.
In Outlast 2. In fact, it's so serious that any chance for a joke is lost anyway. Like, even in Outlast 1, there are, like, occasional funny-ish moments.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the DLC, you know, the guy with the penis cutting and all that sort of stuff. They want that to be kind of really serious, but they're aware that they've gone it to such an overblown level that it's kind of funny in places.
Yeah.
But Outlast 2 has no such points in it. Like, there's a little guy who rides around on a big dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which should be fodder for maybe some comedy, but because they're so hyper serious about it, it's not funny. It's just boring.
Yeah, it doesn't resonate in any kind of like, yeah. By the point he appears, I'm already fed up with the game. It's my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it only gets worse from there.
That's too bad too, because that character in particular, I feel like they had like a really ability there to do like a House of a Thousand Corpses kind of humor.
Yeah.
They
totally could have done, but again, you know, it's like,
and it wouldn't have broken the game.
That falls,
you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have been like, oh, now this game is cheesy.
Yeah.
It would have been just
because of the storyline that they were going for in the school.
Able to make fun of yourself even in a serious thing.
Because of the stuff that was going on in the school, which, you know, it's child abuse. If you've not played the game, don't worry about it. Don't bother. Just play the first one. But because of the incredibly serious child abuse stuff going on in the school, albeit metaphorically most of the time, they didn't, I don't think, feel like they could even make any kind of levity point. Which was incorrect, because there are games that deal really, really, really well with super heavy topics and then can still make jokes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a writer thing.
Yeah, it comes down to the talent of the staff.
Yeah, it boils down to the writing. You're definitely right about that. For Schlock, because they drive that whole direction, you know. That's why Eli Roth can't do it.
Yeah, and, you know, should stop doing anything, and Tom Six should have his hands sewn together and kicked off a hill. Yeah, that would really sting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he'd learn about being a human centipede. But
I love that, like, the last 3 podcasts, all we just do is just rip into Eli Roth.
Well, if anything,
it makes me so happy.
If anything or anyone in the world deserves to be constantly rubbish, no matter what the topic is, we should actually change it to the Hellmouth, episode 8, Silent Hill, plus, you know, Eli Roth, I guess.
Plus, fuck Eli Roth, yeah.
Every episode can be Hellmouth, episode X.
Let's have an entire episode where we just talk about every single Eli Roth thing that we.
I just, I like, for me, because I do appreciate the exploitation cinema, or like cheesy horror, or, you know, even the extreme stuff. He's particularly offensive because he tries to, I mean, he's certainly a fan of that stuff, but I think
he's just so bad at it.
Yeah, he sees himself as this kind of, you know, messiah of bringing that to a Western audience and mainstreaming it, and he's fucking bad at it. So.
Well, he wants to be like some sort of weird oblique combination of like Dario Argento and
that's what upsets me
Wes
about
Craven,
him, because
circa sort of The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
and...
he definitely caters to an area that I enjoy, but he fucks it up. So like that's constantly eventually somebody
be super
will
upsetting.
Yeah,
you know. That can be some of the best horror. Like, the best horror movie of all time is probably the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly that area, you know? Although, admittedly, that's that area by implication rather than actually showing it. But even so...
Yeah.
He's definitely, you know, yeah, as you say, he definitely wants to be, like, the new Tobe Hooper, the new fucking Dario Argento or whatever. But unfortunately, what he is hindered by his lack of wit.
He doesn't have the subtlety to pull any of that kind of stuff off because he wants to shove it in your face and be extreme and be like, oh, I'm, you know.
Well, you know, I spit on your grave or something to that effect, you know, exploitative horror of this type. You still immediately, within seconds, are on the side of the girl who's been, like, massively sexually assaulted and is now killing everyone around her.
Mm-hmm.
You're still on her side. You're still like, yay, kill them all. They're all cunts. I'm behind you, darling. Go, go, go.
Yeah.
You know, I believe in your mission, you know. Whereas after like 15 minutes of squirrels are gay and oh, that's so gay and you're so gay, boy, to the guy you're kissing. Oh, you make my head ache, Eli Roth. The girl actually, no, don't be gay.
Yeah.
After they're making out, and you're like,
I remember.
You don't even know what words mean, do you, Eli? You just throw them out there. And then the party cop turns up and I kill myself again.
That guy's name is Giuseppe.
Is it actually Giuseppe? Because
Yes.
I've never known that.
Yes.
Ooh, face. Yeah, that cunt slap.
Yeah, the cop party man. Yeah, his
Party
real name
man,
is
yeah.
Giuseppe. Yeah.
Yeah. And Eli Roth himself, who had to be in the movie with the ooh face. Just kill yourself, Eli. So much self-harm in those movies. And there's a remake. Okay, I'm not going into it.
Yeah, no, we probably.
But there is a remake.
We probably shouldn't. It just, yeah, like he's particularly upsetting to me because I don't know. He lacks the subtlety that some of this other stuff does, and I don't know. Maybe that's subjective depending on who views it. But it seems like everything that he makes, and then Rob Zombie's around that too. He's entered that realm. We talked about this last week.
They take the tropes of horror and they don't understand what makes horror, but they take the tropes of them and they throw them into a pot and they say, "Hey, we've made a film." That's kind of the way it was, which is sad because I absolutely, like I've said before, and I've mentioned it in this cast as well. I absolutely love House of a Thousand Corpses. I think that it is good schlock. That is good.
Yeah.
I unashamedly love The Medieval Dead. That's got to be schlock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just sad that after that they just decided to just go on to tropes.com, grab some horror tropes, put them into a pot, and make a movie.
Yeah.
Also,
I think the problem
just as an aside, in the remake, there's a point when the girl uploads a picture on her phone. In the film, where the point is they can't contact the outside world, she uploads a picture on her phone. In the middle of the remake, she uploads a picture on her phone, which means she has a slow internet connection.
But she could,
which means the whole point of the movie is fucked.
Yeah.
Just send a text.
Cabin in the Woods is the Joss Whedon one. Cabin Fever.
Oh, Cabin in the Woods is really great.
Cabin Fever is the Eli Roth one.
Cabin in the Woods is another one of those. It's aware that it is making fun.
That's kind of the difference.
Cabin in the Woods probably is schlock, honestly, and like very good schlock. But I think Cabin in the Woods would probably vaguely fall into that.
Yeah,
definitely mocking itself. And
for sure.
But it's well done because Joss Whedon.
Yeah, well,
to me, Cabin in the Woods is very similar to Scream was, except for it's almost making it.
I'll tell you the one good thing Eli Roth
Plus, Amy Acker's in Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Other than what Mitten said earlier, which was
what the Nazi propaganda for Inglourious Basterds.
He brought up Inglourious Basterds, but I was gonna say he did a fake trailer for Grindhouse called Thanksgiving, and that was totally schlocky. That's the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
Yes.
any work at all if he wasn't friends with Quentin Tarantino.
That's yeah. So like that's kind of an example of the like when I think of Schlocky, I think of stuff like that like we've kind of already established. Doesn't
Thanksgiving
Yeah,
was a
definitely.
amazing
Yeah.
trailer.
The
The Grindhouse. Oh man, I love that whole thing.
Yeah, I loved that as well.
Well, that was
obviously.
funny what they were doing there.
Yeah, but I think with Rob Zombie and Eli Roth, they really there's somehow their heads got inflated and they started taking themselves too seriously as
Well,
directors
part
of
the
a
problem with
genre.
Rob Zombie was being given the rights to Halloween.
Yeah,
Like House of a Thousand Corpses is okay, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
not if you like it or not. It's not garbage though. Is the point? It isn't like stinking dumpster fire garbage.
yeah.
But then he was given Halloween and really tried to like put his mark on it and make the character, you know, and make a thing. And eventually, of course, we've talked about this before. It became truly terrible as he missed the point entirely
Yeah.
of Halloween. And by giving, you know, Michael a fucking personality, stupid fucking. But that's the point at which he became inflated.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like a lot of horror is completely ruined by the idea of needing and things, and I feel like Eli and Rob's like the kind of people who feel like they have to explain things.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
It takes the mysticism out of it, and I don't know. I almost feel like we've never really we should do an episode just about. You would think it would have been our first episode, but just an episode of like our definitions of horror, and we've talked about like the 5 kind of like core.
Well, yeah. I mean, we know what the
Fears that
definition-
everybody
you know,
has, yeah, but-
I'm when I talk about the definitions of horror, I'm using the psychological definition. You can look it up online.
Yeah, that's kind of what we should maybe cover that in an episode, because it seems to me like a lot of those get lost when that's what we are always referring to when we're talking about horror as a genre and saying that people miss the point. It's because they're taking out that kind of unknown fear and they're just shoving something gross in your face for the sake of shock value. And
Well, exactly.
Jump scare.
And you know, as we've already noted, jump scares can be achieved without atmosphere, which is why
Yeah.
they're used so often.
Schlocky,
Because-
yeah. Schlocky horror can still have those elements of kind of creepy stuff, even if you're not sitting there scared the entire time. It still kind of has that vibe to it.
Definitely. I mean, and you know, there are some. You know, Cabin in the Woods is a really good example because it's certainly
yeah.
self-effacing. Like it knows it's being a bit silly a lot of the time.
But there's parts of it that are creepy.
Yeah, and there are some well-developed shock scenes as well.
Mhm.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead's a great one, yeah.
There's always one I come back to because that entire movie is a silly comedy, right up to the point where Dylan Moran gets pulled backwards through a window and torn in half.
Yeah.
And you're like, ah! Oh, that's right. They really like zombie movies. I remember.
Yeah. There's
Now,
a really creepy
I
part.
shouldn't have forgotten.
Hot Fuzz isn't a horror movie at all, but they have a little element into it with the kind of
Oh, what, like when they're all sitting around the table in the robes and near the
with
end
the
and he-
murderer and stuff, just
Yeah.
seeing him around town and stuff, and this cloaked hooded figure. I don't know. They're really good at
Oh,
creating that atmosphere
Edgar
and blending
Penn
it.
is actually a very
And doing it in a
talented director.
schlocky way. Yeah, he had a fake Grindhouse trailer too, and his was my favorite. It was that don't.
Oh, Edward.
Don't.
Edward-
That's
Oh
my
my
yeah.
God. Oh my
Edgar,
God.
I'm beginning to suspect that in later years we're going to think of Edgar Wright Penn as we think of auteurs like Francis Ford Coppola.
yeah.
Because
I should hope so, because he's the only one out of this group so far that is still making fresh, innovative shit that's great, that's being praised, you know?
Mhm.
Quentin Tarantino's just
and-
churning out like carbon copies of his shit at this point.
Is,
And
is Quentin Tarantino even? What did he?
Fuck
The
Eli
last
Roth.
thing was that fucking
the Hateful Eight.
cowboy thing,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Which is like pretty much just
Reservoir
him, like,
Dogs.
playing off of it's like Reservoir Dogs met Django.
Yeah, and yeah, Eli Roth has never done any movies, so we don't need to talk about him. He doesn't make films, as far as I'm aware.
Robert Rodriguez has done an okay job with Schlock, but he also did.
What
you
you
know,
mean, like Dusk Till Dawn?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely self-aware.
Yeah.
It's definitely silly. There are some like fairly horror-based moments in that. I mean, the vampires are Dark Till Dawn is pretty damn schlocky actually, because the vampires are kind of silly as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, and he did.
Dusk Till Dawn is total schlock.
He did the Planet Terror side of Grindhouse, which I would
the one
consider
that
horror.
had Rose McGowan as a shotgun-legged stripper.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was basically a zombie movie, but
you don't even need to go any further than that in explaining that movie.
God, that was so awesome though. It wasn't the best of all of the, but I definitely enjoyed it.
I like the one with the car more.
I liked that one more too. That's like
that one's my favorite.
That's my favorite movie, really, at all. I have reasons. Yeah, but it just, I don't know.
Because the chicks are hot.
I actually really
that's one of the reasons I love that movie.
I
actually really like the what's the Danny Trejo thing? Did that ever get made into an actual movie?
Yeah, they did.
I like that.
They did 2 of them.
Lady Gaga was in it.
They did 2 of them.
Was she?
Yep.
And they were schlocky.
She
She was in the second one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Machete.
Yeah, they're total schlock.
And then they had a fan made trailer called Hobo with a Shotgun that they actually made into a real movie with Rutger Hauer. It wasn't great, but it was definitely schlocky. It was over the top, trauma-ish.
Sounds like it goes Kill Bill and pushed it up to about 10. Yeah, I mean, like, Kill Bill is... the first Kill Bill is about as far as Quentin Tarantino should be allowed to go in masturbating onto film.
Yeah. I loved Kill Bill, but he should have stopped there.
I like Kill Bill,
almost.
But that is about as far as he should be allowed to go.
I only say he shouldn't have stopped because Death Proof came after. But, yeah, you're right. That's far.
Death Proof was at least him and Robert Rodriguez doing something that was kind of fun and silly. Neither of them were expecting to be like heralded as the greatest, innovators for those. They just wanted to do something really...
they wanted to do something fun, and that's to the spirit of schlock.
And that's the things
great.
they love as well.
Yeah.
That kind of Pulp Fiction, Grindhouse shit that they both really enjoy.
Yeah.
That's about as far as he should be allowed to go. Kill Bill was the furthest he can be allowed to exist in a world in which no one criticizes him, but they should.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't ever get criticism, you begin to think that everything that you do is amazing. And then we get, like, The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Kill Bill Part 2.
Inglourious Bastards, which I liked. But...
I haven't actually seen all of Inglourious Bastards. I passed out halfway through it.
Nazis.
It's okay.
Nazis. I liked the ending. I thought the ending was...
Yeah, it was fun, but I found it to be lazy.
Yeah, a lot of it was lazy. Lots of it was lazy, but parts in it.
And of course, Django Unchained, which was actually pretty good.
I actually really liked Leonardo DiCaprio in that.
Oh my god, he was amazing in that.
Which is a rare experience, because usually when I say Leonardo DiCaprio, I have to like self-harm afterwards to try and purge the memory of whatever I'm about to talk about.
That's always thing, isn't it? Because I will fight you. He's awesome in Departed.
In Departed? Oh, Departed is a remake.
Yeah, no, Inglourious Bastards was definite schlock by our definition, I would say.
Yeah. But no, I thought Django Unchained was good, and Leonardo DiCaprio was great in that. You know, I've not seen all of the American version of The Departed. I've seen the original, and that's pretty damn good. But it's another of those movies that I didn't feel really needed a remake. Looking at you here, The Ring. Oh, please let Naomi Watts totally and utterly screw up that role while inadvertently destroying the character of Sadako forever by calling her Samara and showing her face.
Conjuring movies. I really liked the first one because I felt like it captured the spirit of like 70s horror and that whole Exorcist kind of thing. Second one, the nun thing was creepy, but I didn't like it. It kind of upset me because it was about the I can't remember the possessed girl from England, the Edinburgh or whatever.
Yeah. Everything is.
Yeah. It just wasn't
Every
great.
movie about that.
Yeah, it just wasn't it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but the nun thing was pretty creepy.
In the same way that like Emily Rose is made, like 6 different movies all about that same exorcism.
Yep.
All starring Dexter's sister for some reason. That's not a good thing.
No.
But Laura Linney was in it, so that's cool.
But yeah, the first Conjuring I thought was pretty good. I think recently, God, there was a lawsuit against them to prove that actually occurred or something, to prove that ghosts actually exist.
Oh,
Warner
yeah,
Brothers
was,
or something,
but,
yeah.
But it got dramatically thrown out for being stupid,
Yeah.
as I recall. But yeah, the Conjurings were okay. They weren't dreadful.
The
movies.
Nun is getting its own spin-off. Oh.
I mean, this is the thing, and this is the kind of stuff that you enjoy whether or not you are aware, you know it's bad, but you enjoy it anyway. This is the
Sure.
Lucius thing, you know.
Yeah.
We all know that Lucius isn't a good game. It's mechanically poor, and it's the Omen in game form.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a single original thought in it.
It's just fun.
But the thing is, it's a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
Right? And Lucius, as it happens, you could play. I played Lucius off stream. It's not that bad. It's not great by any means, you know, but it's all right. You know, it's good enough, and it's not mechanically dreadful, and, you know, it doesn't hurt my soul that it exists. You know, it's kind of a bit of a laugh. And this is, you know, being a bit of a laugh is kind of the distinct definition for something being sort of schlocky.
Mm-hmm.
Snakes on a plane, yeah, that's very aware. You can't title your movie "Snakes on a Plane" without being super aware of what you're doing.
Thanksgiving is one, and it's very trauma-ish. It was like an hour-long YouTube made video that kind of blew up because it was about a murderous turkey.
Oh yeah, that's like the sheep one from New Zealand. What's that called? Black sheep or whatever.
Yeah.
Which by the way, if you've not seen Black Sheep, like, do yourself a favor, get your ass to Netflix right now. Get proper drunk first, or like high, or whatever works for you, right? And then watch Black Sheep and just piss yourself laughing. You will literally crap yourself and die. It's so fucking funny, and I could not recommend it more. But yeah, this is where schlock becomes valuable, because not only does it give people who need or want the opportunity to laugh at something that's scary, so that you're not always... Because, you know, you made a very good point at the beginning, which is like being constantly bombarded by horror without any let-up, no moment of levity, is fine if you like that, but it still has a desensitization point.
Yeah. Yep. I still maintain that, like, even if you're laughing at something, turn it on its ear and make it actually scary, you're not going to be laughing anymore. But you're going to get desensitized if you keep seeing that stuff. And I don't know. I feel like that can get dangerous. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's more dangerous if you're throwing it towards, like, gore or something. You know, you get desensitized to that. But then we're getting into strange ESRB discussions.
I mean, the end of the day, right? Like... Anybody who really thinks that horror games or shooter games or fighting games lead a person to shoot someone,
yeah, that's not true.
Is ignoring the very obvious, like, mental failing of the person who's doing it.
Yeah.
Because, like, actually, I think it was actually, I was watching it with you as it happens, wasn't it? The Penn and Teller thing.
Yeah.
When they were talking about guns and they do, like, COD.
Yeah,
they had
like 11-year-old or something. They took him to the firing range and he shot a gun and he cried after that because
he really, really didn't like it. It hurt and it wasn't fun.
It's similar to horror, I guess, in that way.
And well, also, but the funny thing about that was, like, we were sitting. I was like, his parents must be so proud.
Yeah,
they've raised like this amazing child that can tell the difference between fantasy and reality really easily.
Like, he plays these shooting games, but then he recognizes that when he...
Yeah.
And so nobody thinks that, like, that desensitization point involves a danger apart from puritanical right-wing conservative fuck job arch Christian cock slaps that Melissa Joan Hart might actually be one of.
That's a string of words.
I do think that like having you constantly being pressed on with serious horror will kind of desensitize you from actual good horror, because you'll
But
have seen
that
so
is the
much of
issue.
it. Yeah, you'll have seen so much of it that what scares you anymore. You know.
That's definitely the case, and so there is the case for levity within horror, which is where this schlock stuff comes in. And Until Dawn is funny in places, and it means to be, and Until Dawn is stupid in places and doesn't mean to be funny, but it still is, and that's okay, and it's at least they were giving it their all, and Friday the 13th is likewise aware of its own silliness in a lot of places. It's not trying to be the next fucking serious thing. Yeah, we're all bummed out about it, Colgate. It's been a lifelong problem that Sabrina the Teenage Witch turned out to be a right-wing Christian fundamentalist nut job.
Yeah, Clarissa explains the Bible.
Clarissa explains why that I should be able to keep my money.
I love it.
Sabrina the Teenage Youth Nazi. But yeah. But I lost an awful lot of respect for Jason Lee when I found out he was a Scientologist, and I feel like I shouldn't, because he believes it, and that's cool. But I automatically lose your respect for people when I find out they're a Scientologist.
Well,
if you're a Scientologist, I'm sorry, but you suck.
I definitely feel like there's a case for schlock in horror, even if it can it creates a gray area because it can pollute with the number of bad shit, the number of bad games or bad movies that could, argue that, oh, I'm not taking myself seriously, or, shit that the Eli Roths and the Rob Zombies of games and movies that come in and fuck it up for the rest of us. But then every once in a while you find a little diamond in the rough that is good.
Oh,
it's not great, but it's fun,
And the whole point of this is it's supposed to be a bit of a laugh. And if you are a horror fan, you probably spend most of your time, like me and Aviana, and in the last year, Jade. No, but if you, no, but if you've spent the last 20 years or something playing horror games fairly religiously, there's definitely a point when you're just like, okay, I just can't do it. I can't do it today. I can't jump at everything again. I can't have that pressure on my head when the atmosphere is building up.
That's how I am with movies. Like because I am fairly new to the games. I will admit I've been playing games, but I'm getting into the horror games. But with movies,
I'd do anything to be able to play Resident Evil 2 this year.
With movies, I've been watching for such a long, like yesterday I was talking about the shitty movies that we were watching yesterday. I'm like, I saw this when I was like 16 and everybody was like, seriously? And I'm like, yep. Not a lot shocks me in movies anymore. I can't jump or get afraid, but with games, because it's more of an interactive movie to me, it's still fresh, but I get what you're saying. Like it gets old because you're exposed to it after a while.
But I suppose that, even though they don't, I don't like them because they have a tendency to mock something I think should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I generally find myself reeling against schlock.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy playing Until Dawn. Admittedly, the way I was playing it, but it allowed me to play it that way. It was set up to allow you to try and kill them all. It wasn't like there was physically no way to do that.
Yeah.
And because there was no...
They knew that would be a mechanic that people would enjoy about
some people were going to do that, and I was one of those people that wanted to just execute them all because they were insipid cunts. But no, I'm not alone, though.
Yeah.
Okay? There's 160-odd people here now. I don't think of the 160-odd people, I'm the only person here who didn't try and kill everyone in Until Dawn.
No, I'm pretty sure a lot of people tried to. I'm pretty sure a lot of people tried to kill everyone. I wanted to, but I also didn't want to spend forever trying to do it.
You've got a 2-disc DVD set called The Fundamentals of Scientology. That's funny, actually, Flameface, because I'm pretty sure I've got a book somewhere called The Fundamentals of Scientology. Oh, yeah, it's Isaac Asimov's back catalogue. Based on a science fiction author. L. Ron Hubbard, you're a terrible man. But yeah, no, there is that room for something fun and happy in the same area, right? You want to get until John just to get them all killed. Yeah. You know, you have to have those moments of like lightness, which is why trauma is so popular, honestly, and always was so popular. Things like Class of Nukem High and Tromeo and Juliet and, you know, the Toxic Crusader or Avenger. I can never remember which is the cartoon and which is the fucking movie. I think it's Avenger is the movie because they changed it in a Turtles way for the cartoon. You know, these things are so popular because they are being a laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're not being serious. They're taking the whole, you know, radiation mutated horrible stuff that you would get in a lot of, and there was a lot of 80s and 90s horror movies that work with the theory that like mutation causes people to become gross or whatever. And then, you know, Class of Nukem High was like, yeah, but what if we put a squirrel, like a really massive squirrel that had huge testicles?
I remember
that movie.
It just walked into my head, like,
you
as
remember
you said
it
that.
too. Class of Nukem High 2.
Oh, yeah.
Nuclear Meltdown, or whatever the fuck that movie was called. You remember?
Yeah.
Look at the size of his nut. Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing, and that's how it's designed to be, right? To deliver that moment in amidst because most of the people watching Trauma are horror fans. You're not watching, you know, Bad Taste and Brain Dead are aimed at horror fans.
Bad Taste was one of my gems for the longest time. The
Brain
Peter
Dead
Jackson.
has always been a huge fan. I've always been a huge fan. I kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah,
do you?
yeah.
And that guy's got a lawnmower. He's killing zombies with a lawnmower. And so on, right?
Yeah.
But it is that way. It's marketed for horror fans. It's not marketed for non-horror appreciating people. They're designed for us to give us a bit of a break from, you know, The Exorcist and stuff. Because if you watch that on repeat, it gets a bit heavy.
Yeah. Well, even something like Night of the Demons, which is another... we watched that, I think, on Halloween. We watched a bunch of shit like that, and that's a pretty schlocky... It's really well done. They use a lot of practical effects, but it's so over the top, trauma-ish almost. It's got a lot of definite creepy parts, but yeah.
Well, something even like The Evil Dead, the first one, which it's taking itself basically seriously. There's still a lot of moments in that movie where you're like, I'm not sure these people actually want to be making a straight horror movie.
Yeah.
I think they want to be making a comedy.
Yeah.
And then the second one came out and you're like, yeah, they definitely did. And then the third one came out and you're like, yep, got it, no problem. No worries. This is my boomstick. Yes, it is. No problem, Ash. Just do your thing. Tropic Thunder. I don't even know what that is. But I'm assuming it's something of this parody.
Tropic Thunder? That's like a newer, like, Robert Downey Jr. I don't know that I would consider
Robert Downey Jr. is in it.
Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller, I can't remember who else.
That doesn't rule out any movie. Isn't Robert Downey Jr. in all the movies now?
I want to say Jack Black. That was just a comedy. I don't think that was schlock, really. That was just a comedy. It was meant to be a comedy. It was not trying to, like, meld a genre or become a serious movie that had elements of, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a schlock movie, though.
But yeah, so this is the sort of the definition of schlock, and there is a place for it in the world, and even though it irks me that it exists, it doesn't.
I'm old. Newer does mean 10 years ago.
Newer, yeah, 10 years ago. Just because I hate it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist, I suppose. I just don't think it should. I don't think horror should be mocked in the way that it does.
Here's one that this is the one that made us late. Let's get back to it. True Blood.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, where's my theme song that I play at the start of every single show?
We were talking about True. I have it right here. It's on this playlist that I used that you gave me when we started this whole thing.
That does make sense.
True Blood.
Yeah, there's your song.
When you gave her
this is a weird cover.
I love cheesy.
It's the instrumental version. Anyway, Yeah.
I don't know where you think you are.
True Blood was an HBO show that came out that was supposed to be about modern vampires, and really, if you knew more about it, it was based on a Harlequin novel series called the Sookie Stackhouse novels or whatever.
Vagina or whatever they were called.
Yeah, and just knowing that alone, like if you didn't know it, you would just think, God, this is cheesy, and I kind of hate it. But it was schlock almost at its finest.
It grows on you like a virus.
And especially knowing that it's based on these Harlequin kind of these $5 gas station romance novels that are very bad.
Very bad.
They're like they make Stephanie Meyer look very talented indeed.
They nail that kind of the source material because it's so cheesy, but you're engaged. You got to keep watching.
And they had some good actors in True Blood as well, giving it their all. And again, that's another thing is that a bit like Donald Pleasance in Halloween, I felt like all the actors in True Blood were really, really trying.
Yeah.
Even
if they were to the point of over the top, you know, yeah.
Yeah, they were still making an effort, and I think actually True Blood. The funny thing about True Blood is I watched the credits and I was like, wow, this looks sick because they had that HBO habit of doing like amazing credit sequences.
Yes, I actually watched a small documentary on how they filmed that, and they were using all these old cameras, and it was fascinating.
It's like every HBO series has got these unbelievable credit sequences, and this was no exception. The credit sequence of True Blood, I was like, oh, I'm into this.
Yeah.
I am so into this show already. And then the entire show, from beginning to end, can be summed up with the opening scene where a trucker goes in and then True Blood exists. It's an actual drink for vampires. And then his teeth fire out like flick knives. And I was like, yep, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Very stupid. All right, let's go then. I don't care anymore. You've already ruined everything about the myth in this one scene, so it can't get worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a couple of series in, you hating yourself for watching it, but you're still watching it, and you always will be. And then you're like at season 7 going, so is Bill a god now?
Yeah.
I stopped after season. I stopped in the middle of season 3, and then I would go back and watch certain episodes.
It goes so over the top, and like the first time I watched it, I hated it because it went so over the top. But then when I kind of remembered where it came from, that's when I was like, you know, I had a better appreciation for it rewatching it, because I was like, this is actually.
By the way, Joey Girl is here. I'm just going to say, Bacon Dragon, are you sure you can't remember a vampire detective show? Are you sure you can't remember a show with a vampire detective as the lead character in it? Because if you can't remember a show, then I'm not sure we can be friends. 3 times in this show already. Darling Violetta were way better than the Nerf Herders. Let's be honest. Starts with an A, ends in
there
Joel.
she is, yeah.
There's Joey. Yeah, Connor is a cunt though. But no, I saw a boob.
Yeah, I turned it off. Shh.
You move quickly.
Yeah.
But no, there's
boobs.
True Blood is the exact point of schlock. Like, it's definitively over the top and designed to be almost nonsensical.
Yeah.
Like, you know, by the time you get to, like, even the end of season 1, the plot doesn't make sense. Mm. And then the girl from 24 turns up and you're like, what? She's a what? She's a dryad or something?
Maenad, yeah.
She's a...
Oh, yeah, she's the Greek god.
Yeah. I was so into that fucking season. The beginning of it, when you see the fucking goat thing on, like, the silhouette of it on the road, I was like, what is it? What?
Yep.
I think American Horror Story is another good example of something that does this
schlockiness
really well.
I have such a love-hate relationship with that show because I kind of hate it, but there are parts of it that I love, like the imagery that they create and the atmosphere that they create. It's just like
some of the seasons I really like, and others are less good.
They get halfway through. For me, they always get about halfway through, and then they're just like, you know what? Let's just go nuts. and they fucking write some shit in that makes no sense.
But if anything, that's the definition of what it makes it really schlocky.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
The first 5 episodes, they're like, this could be a serious horror show. And witches, they ride.
Man, I hated that.
We get it, Ryan Murphy. Yeah. You're a goth. We get it. You don't have to put it in every single episode of every single American Horror Story, something by some goth band.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, the first episode of Hotel, and they got the scene with the fucking dude from the New Girl, and he's walking down the hallway to Sisters of Mercy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the most disgusting thing I've ever seen that made me stop watching American Horror Story occurs, and I'm just like, oh, God, I fucking hate this show.
That was the most disgusting thing you've ever seen?
In the show. Like, I did not want to see this corkscrew sexual assault take place. Like, I had to stop watching. I was just like, this is too I can't.
Oh yes,
this is too much.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
that is probably one of the more disgusting scenes in the American
I don't
Horror
even know
Story.
about disgusting. I was off-putting, I guess, is a better term.
It was definitely the.
It was.
Think of what it was is the 7 scene, but without implication. It was the 7 scene.
It was
splashed in our faces.
It was to a soundtrack that I love, so I was so upset.
You're ruining the Sisters of Mercy for me, Ryan. You're ruining it forever. When the She-Ra Revenge, I loved She-Ra Revenge in the Gaga scene. That scene was fucking bitching.
That was the same episode. That was a great scene, yeah.
That piece of music could not be better chosen for that scene. That whole montage of Lady Gaga and then the ending of the blood and the sex and the She Wants Revenge. That could not be a better song for that scene.
That was probably one of their best scenes ever filmed.
That scene was whamming.
I love that. Yeah. Love that
but
scene.
You're right. That show definitely nails schlock on the head. Even if I'm not crazy about it, it's total schlock.
That's the whole point of it, though. Yeah. That's why it's called American Horror Story. It's about the schlockiness of American horror. Pretty much is what it is.
So yeah.
That's Tina. They're not for everyone. Like we thought it was cool, but yeah, I would agree because it was so gory and kind of so much sex and over the top. It wasn't for everyone. Like,
some people. This is the thing. Like, Jade really likes things like Dario Argento and I Spit on Your Grave and areas like that, and I don't find them particularly enjoyable. I can see that they're good, but I don't like them as a style of horror.
Yeah, my inner hipster conflicts with other parts of me because, like, with Argento, I love his cinematography, but some of his themes are just like, ew.
But give me any sort of religious horror, no matter how obscure or confused. I don't care. I like what's that Patricia Arquette movie that's got the
Stigmata.
I like Stigmata. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck.
That was a shitty movie, but I liked it.
That movie's shit. Yeah. And I like that movie. I watched that movie a bunch of times, and that movie is garbage on fire. Okay? That movie is proper terrible. And has Chumbawamba on the soundtrack. If it wasn't bad enough. That song, Whatever Happened to Mary, that's Chumbawamba of I get knocked down, but I get up again fame.
I don't know if I can highly recommend I Spit on Your Grave. It's pretty hard to sit through.
No, you probably shouldn't watch that.
It's hard to sit through. I wouldn't even consider it like a favorite of mine, but that realm of kind of B-rate, like, not even B-rate, just
I can't really recommend I Spit on Your Grave to anyone.
Exploitation cinema that are
in the same
out
sort
there.
of way that you shouldn't really watch The Dancer in the Dark.
Yeah.
Or like Nil by Mouth or Irreversible.
You watch the last episode, and those are our recommendations to watch.
Stigmata was the fucking Godfather compared to Lost Souls. I watched Lost Souls as well, and I watched The Ninth Gate, and I don't care.
I love The Ninth Gate. I love that movie.
That was quite the movie. That was.
Oh God!
No, different people like different things. And not liking that doesn't mean you aren't going to like wide swathes of horror. It's just that kind of body shock assault kind of imagery doesn't work for you. And that's fair, because it doesn't work for lots of people. You know,
Yeah.
The Shining is funny. Shining, what the Kubrick Shining? Shining's brilliant. You're talking about the Kubrick one.
Uh-huh.
If you're talking about the miniseries with the guy from Wings, well, that's okay. But the Jack Nicholson Shining movie's fucking rocking.
You know, I guess since we're already kind of out there like we've almost, you know, come to a strange end of the schlock stuff. We could talk about other things like since we're kind of just going on about horror in general now. We could just talk about some like recent stuff like has anybody watched Castlevania, the animated thing on Netflix?
Well, everybody but me, apparently.
Yeah,
as far as I can tell, it's everyone but me seems to have watched it.
It's pretty good.
I'm a big fan of the soundtrack.
It's not great.
I love the first two Castlevanias on the NES. I hope it's not terrible. That would suck. I would be really sad if Castlevania was made into something that was
If
shit.
I watch it on Netflix, does Konami get money? Because if it does, I don't want to watch it.
I don't think so, but I don't know.
I feel like Netflix must have already paid them, irregardless. It can't be per view.
Okay.
That's probably
would
true,
make
yeah.
sense.
That's probably.
They must have paid outright for the license. But I take your point, though. If they do get money, we need to find out. Because I don't want ever to give another penny to Konami.
Nope.
No. Actually, God, wouldn't it be terrible if Konami tomorrow announced they were actually making Silent Hill 7 and it looked really good? What a dreadful conundrum we'd be in. The world would shatter in on us if we tried to work between two terrible opposing forces.
Like a
iffy.
distant siren, I'd hear Abby just all the way where she is just go. Like she was Tina Belcher, but just whining that loudly from all the way over there because she's conflicted.
I don't know what
it would be very hard to, and that would be a real problem because I'd really want to play it. I'd really want to rubbish the shit out of it as well. If it was good, it'd be even worse, right?
I have to find out who is like heading it in the company.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm saying like imagine that like they got fucking, you know, everyone back, right? Like imagine they got the entire, not that that could ever possibly happen, right? But imagine that.
Most of them already hate Konami. That's
I know. It's not possible. But if it came down that way, and they could get like the original composer, if they even got like the original composer, I'd already start to feel really badly conflicted.
He's already he left for Downpour, but he came back for the Diablo style Silent
Book
Hill.
of
The Book of Memories has an amazing soundtrack. If you haven't listened to that soundtrack,
Shattered Memories. The only good thing about it is its soundtrack. But it's
you.
No, I mean no. Sorry. The soundtrack to Shattered Memories is very good. Is what I mean.
Yes, it's an amazing soundtrack.
That is actually probably the second best soundtrack out of the lot.
Yep, I agree
after
with
the
you.
second one.
Yep, I agree.
But strange noises. Downpour was good. No, it wasn't at all.
You know what? We're going to talk about that next week, so let's not even get into it now.
We're going to go into the war of Silent Hill next week.
We're going to be having a full-on Silent Hill episode next time.
You can see me right now. I'm putting I'm pointing two fingers at my eyes, and I'm pointing two fingers at you, and I'm giving you the thumbs up.
What I'm going to do is just animate this picture so it's shaking like that. Strange noise intensifies. Yeah.
And you like switch it in and out.
Yeah.
So
although, just so you know, Zujak, Downpour's not good. It's truly very bad.
Shut your face, Adam! I'm gonna kick you.
It's like playing barbed wire.
Yes, that's gonna be my string. No
It's like playing Silent Hill 2.
Frustration with Adam intensifies. There you go.
Oh god.
That's what it's gonna be like. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna devolve into a bit of a brawl.
Yep, we're gonna fight.
The funny thing is that like for the first 3 movies, the games were just like, yeah, they're really great.
yes, Chi.
That's the one. That's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I was trying to think of anything else new that had
What
come
else is
out.
happening that's in horror that's actually going on at the
That-
moment?
yeah, that
is there anything released? There's been going on. New Little Nightmares DLC's just come out.
Yeah, I still need to
I need
play
to get
it.
all over that shit. That's just come out, and you can buy a season pass. And I'm struggling because I really hate the idea of season passes. But I will probably, if I don't buy a season pass, end up buying them individually and like spend an extra like $5 per DLC or something. So I'll probably end up having to buy them. Rated on Homecoming, it is worthless shit.
I watched The Witcher. I bought The Witcher 3 with the season pass in the Steam sale because of,
Oh, there you go. Sounds
I don't know,
like
I
a buy.
think
That sounds like
season
$80 or $90 worth of stuff.
I feel like season passes are especially cool for games that have a whole bunch of extra content that they can add. So like if you had like Skyrim and you got a season pass for that because they were going to continuously just add more and more to the world, I feel like season passes are a good idea. But like sometimes I see season passes for things and I'm like, you have a season pass for a game that's not finished yet. So I don't want it to be a season pass. I just want you to give me what you didn't finish about the game.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm looking at bloodydisgusting.com to kind of see some cherry
I'm
pick
just rolling
some.
down this.
Oh yeah,
I'm
do
just
that
rolling down the Steam.
rely on.
It director takes over Hulu's Lock and Key pilot, which is a great comic that's kind of got some horror themes to it. I don't know if either of you have read it.
Apparently, there's a game called Get Even out that I have not.
Oh yeah, Get Even.
I did.
Is
I played that.
Actually, a pretty good one.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, Get Even's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's more psychological. It mixes genres, so there's shooter parts that I felt were a little weak, but they still kind of kept it fresh. That was pretty good.
Get Even's okay.
Yeah,
and it's overpriced by a factor of like it's like $30, which it should be like 20.
I don't know what this is, but I think somebody ported it over to PC.
Oh.
What, Silent Hill Downpour?
Oh no! It's somebody based a small fan game off of Silent Hill Downpour. It's a PC version.
I mean, there's the usual rash of shite in the horror section on Steam that you should mostly ignore, but Perception's worth a look if you fancy it. Definitely worth checking out. It's an interesting take on the whole concept, and has a better mechanical grasp on horror than the average. There isn't a huge amount that's been out at the moment. We're all still sitting here basically waiting for like Agony.
Yeah.
In terms of like the next really interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of things that, you know, if you've got money and you can't be bothered, or, you know, there's a bunch of cheap shit as well that if you're poor and you just want something to dick around with, there's a few bits and bobs. Canarium is still expensive, and
I want to play that. I haven't taken the plunge to purchase it
I
yet.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much people out who don't love, you know, Lovecraft will like it, because I feel like you really need to. Edge of Insanity is a game that's not out yet, but it's coming very soon. Should be an interesting one.
When does the Call of Cthulhu game come out? Is there a date on that one yet?
Oh, not a specific date. They're looking at like late 2017, early 2018, but, you know,
really
Blood Bowl Legendary Edition.
I would love that to be a Christmas game.
I mean, I doubt it will, honestly. I imagine they've got Blood Bowl Legendary Edition that they've got to release first. Plus, they've got Vampire and a bunch of things, actually, that they're banging out.
I really want it to be a Christmas thing, because I really would love to go home for buy that game.
Frictional talks Soma in VR, canceled DLC, an upcoming titles. Frictional games.
Yeah, another Danganronpa.
Soma,
that's your thing.
According to Grip, there were talks about making a DLC, and as the project was winding down, they scrapped it.
I don't want a DLC for Soma anyway.
We've been looking into VR. We had some ideas, but the problem is having enough time. So
unless it's like a prequel thing or just like another person's
story.
Like
I'd be fine with a totally different story, but nothing that connects or.
So they may
like Soma was so good.
Yeah, they may possibly bring it to VR, but it looks like no DLC, which is fine.
I mean, that would be fine. You know, VR is VR at the moment.
This
until
story is literally nothing that we didn't already know.
I don't care. But other than that, nothing super interesting in the new releases for horror. I don't know about telly or films, but that's only because I'm lame. But that's what's going on in terms
Night
of
Trap
like,
25 edition anniversary that's coming out.
yeah, the night trap is coming out,
Which I will be playing. It's
I
not
know
only
you will.
it's not only been asked, but I knew that I was going to be playing it eventually, anyways.
I know.
Bram Stoker's Dracula gets 4K
It's proper
Ultra
terrible,
HD
though.
release. I don't know. There's not a whole lot.
To put it out there, the lead character in Night Trap killed herself after being in Different Strokes. It takes different strokes to rule the world, or something to that effect. What are you talking about, Willis? That girl. That's
girl.
the one in
yeah.
question.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So Castlevania is something we all need to watch and check out and see if it's any good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't it an anime?
it's an anime.
Oh, I don't care then.
It's only 4 episodes, though.
It's only
not
4
that long.
episodes, and it's not terrible given that. Distrust. That's a game that I really want to play.
So, okay. Can somebody answer me this? Is it about Simon Belmont? Or is it about some other Belmont?
Some other Belmont.
Because if it's about Simon, I'm into it. It's American made, though, not Japanese anime.
Mhm.
That sounds fucking rocking. American made anime, that sounds like nothing could go wrong.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it, but I don't know how to like.
It's about Trevor Belmont. Oh, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I'm not like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever. Like, I think it's worth a watch and decide on your own. But because it falls into anime, I have no really overwhelming feelings about it.
I mean,
you know,
I suppose I've not seen the Castlevania anime, so I can't say if it's good. And a lot of people have been saying it's great, and that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it feels dangerously like to me, like you had a story right there involving Simon Belmont that you could have done, and instead you did something else. Makers of Silent Hill, the movie. Makers of Silent Hill 2, and I just don't understand why you can't translate the thing and the stuff.
Oh, we'll talk about that, you son of a bitch, next week.
No, in my defense, I'm not wrong about the movies.
Well, certain things about the movies you're not wrong about.
Like the plot and the acting. But the only cartoon version of Simon Belmont we got was Captain N. Yes, and that was the best version. What? Simon Belmont and Mega Man with an annoying voice and Kid Icarus. That was an amazing cartoon. Best cartoon of like the childhood that wasn't Dungeons and Dragons. I think we can all agree about that, can't we? Yeah, she was the blonde girl in Different Strokes. Yeah. But no, Castlevania. It's an American-made anime.
mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll watch it, I guess.
Yeah. Give it a shot, I guess. Like I said, it's because it's anime. I don't really have any overwhelming feelings.
It's kind of horror related, but not really horror related.
Well, you know. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Adam, have you watched the what's it called? Shit, I just thought. It's the only anime that you've ever watched all the way through.
Death
Death Note.
Death Note. Have you watched the live action version that they have on Netflix yet?
Is it out?
No, I was told it was bad.
Is it not out? I thought it was out.
I didn't think it was out yet.
I was told it was bad, or maybe I was just told it was going to be bad. A lot of people are very angry about it for some reason.
Oh.
It's a film, and I don't think it's not out until August 25th.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are really pissed off about it though. Apparently, so should be a laugh. See the world go up in flames because people seem to be very cross about the
People
whole
are very
thing.
upset for a number of reasons, and I don't think I have an opinion about it because
I don't feel like I care enough.
I just want to see what they do. You know.
I mean, it feels like bad acting. Is that the reason? Because that was not the first thing that people always say to me is whitewashing. But how do you know, Sue Jack, if it's not out yet? It might be really well acted, for all we know.
I do know that I'm very happy that character Misa or whatever pigtails that I always found annoying in the anime, and one to me is a little frustrating. I did see that she's being played a little bit more downplayed than she was in the anime, and I kind of like that.
Okay.
That'll
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like little blonde girl. Yeah.
I know who you mean, yeah. I mean, people just seem to be really, really. You've seen
Most
trailers.
people are mad
I
about the
don't know if I
casting
would-
for similar reasons that they were angry about Ghost in the Shell, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the whitewashing thing seems to be the main
I
thing that
didn't
people
think
are
Ghost
like
in the Shell
pissed about.
was bad. In fact,
I
I
haven't
didn't think it was
seen the
great either.
Scarlett
I
Johansson
thought it was,
movie.
it
Do
was
I think
fine.
when it
I
comes
liked
to
it.
stuff like that, to me, I personally think, do I think it would be stronger if it had an Asian actress as the character? Yeah, I do. I think that the movie would have been really strong with an Asian actress. However, we didn't get that one, so
I
I'll
just
go
want
watch the other one and
to.
see
I
what it
just
was
want
like.
them to be respect the source material.
yeah.
Is my
Basically,
thing.
I care much less about whitewashing than I care about them missing the fucking point.
The source material, unless it's strictly about a heritage, I don't give a fuck. You know, like
Well,
whatever,
I mean, going
you know?
back to like, the
That's me.
Ring, right?
Uh-huh.
I care so much less about it being Naomi Watts than I do about the fact that they missed the point about showing the little girl's face, for example, right? It's so much worse when they screw up the source material compared to it being Americans doing the job.
Yeah.
I don't really like. I'm not really that fussed either way. But if they arse up the source material, that's when it gets problematic, right?
Yeah.
So if they've done a bad job of translating the anime into a film or what have you, then that will be much more upsetting to me than it being, American actors or whatever doing. I don't really care. I understand why they would cast American actors in a film directly designed to be sold in America,
Yeah.
for example. So I'm not confused about the fact that they're not using Japanese actors. Do I wish it was different? Yeah, sure. I wish they cast Japanese actors in a Japanese set thing, but I bet they're going to set it in America. I bet they don't set it in Tokyo.
Oh, Death Note.
Yeah, I bet they're going to set it in New York or something.
Yeah, if they, I would be a little bit miffed if they casted all white people in an anime to set it in like Japan.
Yeah,
I'd be
stick
like,
it in Tokyo and then cast a bunch of American
What?
actors. Then you're going to annoy people, right? But if you set it in New York, well, they're going to be American, aren't they? Because it's in New York. It's the same way, like, in High Fidelity. Well, they should have cast English actors.
God,
but it's set in
what
Chicago.
The fuck is this piece of news? Quentin Tarantino wrote and will direct a Manson family movie. Many movies about Charlie Manson and the horrific murders committed by his family have been made, but we're thinking this is going to be the definitive one, says Bloody Disgusting.
Oh, yay.
No.
That sounds nice.
The site notes Tarantino is currently finishing up the script and that Jennifer Lawrence and Brad Pitt have already been approached. Neither actor, however, is involved in any capacity at this time. The project's being shopped to studios.
Who's Jennifer Lawrence playing? Squeaky Frome?
Probably. Shoot could begin as early as summer 2018.
I want to see Brad Pitt as Charles Manson and Jennifer Lawrence as Squeaky fucking Frome. Oh, I want this to be a thing.
I feel like Brad Pitt has to be the Beach Boy.
Get Francis Ford Coppola to like guest star in it, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, not Francis Ford Coppola. I was just making a really bad toast joke.
I bet Jennifer Lawrence is gonna be Sharon Tate.
Yeah,
somehow.
It's gonna be her or Squeaky Frome. It's gotta be. It's gotta be one of them. I want this to exist. I want this to be a thing. Who was the director who's
I love me some JLo, so
that was the joke I was trying to make, but I've got the wrong name, haven't I? It's not Francis Ford Coppola, wasn't it? It was him, wasn't it?
That
who's got his pregnant girlfriend or something murdered?
Or
wife or daughter, somebody related. It was some famous director who had their partner or something murdered by the Manson family.
Roman Polanski.
Let's get him to guest star in it. It's going to be a great movie.
Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski. I believe it.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
I hope she's Squeaky Frome. I want her to be Squeaky Frome so much. That would be hilarious.
He also wants Margot Robbie in the Manson family. Is that true?
I bet he does.
She would be Squeaky Frome.
Yeah, she'd be Squeaky Frome if that happens.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Because that means she's Squeaky Frome, and that bums me out. Although, if Jennifer Lawrence is Sharon Tate, she's not going to be in the movie for very fucking long, is she?
Well, I mean, if that's going to be their crescendo on it, she'll probably be through a lot of it. Maybe.
Well, if that's the crescendo, there'll be literally an hour and a half sitting in the desert, followed by 10 minutes of Jennifer Lawrence getting murdered.
I don't really know what. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to figure out what the angle is. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it depends on how
how he approaches it. Yeah.
If they're going for all these big names, then clearly it's going to be delivered with a certain degree of taste, because Roman Polanski's still alive for a start. We need an Addams Family cartoon. I think it was an Addams Family cartoon. I seem to have a recollection of there being one.
Margot Robbie will be Sharon Tate.
Oh, that's a shame. Which put Jennifer Lawrence squarely back in the Squeaky Throne slot.
Yeah.
I'm all over Jennifer Lawrence and Squeaky Throne. That sounds tremendous.
I could see this. I suppose
I mean,
I could
the funny
see
thing
this.
is,
They look similar
Brad Pitt
enough.
wouldn't even need to get dressed. You wouldn't even need to get dressed up. He could just, the way he dresses normally, he could be Manson. Because he loves the bearded hippie slack fuck look.
Samuel L. Jackson will likely play a lead role in the untitled Manson family film. Hardly surprised.
Who?
What will he be? What?
Which member of the Manson family or anybody else is he?
He will be Squeaky from.
He's gonna be Manson, is he?
Yeah.
Like with Nick Fury. Well, it's okay that he's black now. Isn't this sort of historical? No, it's okay that he's black. Something is wrong about this.
We will figure this out. I happened
funny
to
too.
see that in the side of Bloody Disgusting, and I was just like, oh no.
I can't wait. I want this to be a thing. This has to happen. All right, so I think there isn't a huge amount coming out in terms of horror that we got going on at the moment.
No. It looks like the only other thing in terms of games is something called Distrust, which is kind of isometric, and it's sounds like The Thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Which it looks pretty good. Should be out in like a month.
Oh, we've got Sundered coming out soon as well.
Sundered, yeah. Sundered comes
Sundered
out
gets
next
released
week.
soon. Yep.
Comes out next week. It'll be really good.
And we've got that going on.
Actually, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I don't know.
2 weeks.
I'll be playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got our things, I'm sure, by this point. And we'll get that going on. That should be pretty fun if you like Strider and Lovecraft in the same game, because that's what it is.
Yep.
All right. So what are you up to this week, Jade? What are you going on?
I'm probably starting Hollow Knight after this. Yeah, I finished Dark Souls 2 last week. Short for three DLC bosses that I didn't down. One because I can, but I'm just
the ice.
That stupid bullshit. Yeah, I came real close. I just got tired of going through that area.
Oh no, they're cats, aren't they?
Yeah, and then the other two the other two, I think, were both in Shulva, and they don't count to me because they're lazy.
Did you kill the Dark Lurker?
No, I didn't kill the Dark Lurker. I need to go back and do that.
You suck.
Well, the problem was that I ran out of humanity, and then I was like, you know what? I'm so fucking...
Then that is a problem, yeah.
I think I went there after the ice area, and I was so fucking fed up with the game that I was like, I'm going to finish this game. I'm just going to finish it. I'm done. I'll go back to 3. I'm going to take a break between 2 and 3, and then I'll move to 3. And my break is going to be Hollow Knight, which is going to just feel delightful.
Oh yeah, that's going to be lovely. That's an amazing game.
I need a decompression after 2. I understand why people hated.
Oddly enough, by the way, Hollow Knight, while it is lovely, is like mind-shatteringly hard.
Oh yeah.
So there's that factor too.
I'll be excited. It'll be nice. It was that or Slain, and I think I'm just ready for a little bit of a break. But
it's definitely worth checking out. So you're doing Hollow Knight. What else you got on?
That's what I'm gonna do. I got some Try It Tuesday stuff next week. And we just talked about Sundered. I know I'm gonna be playing that. I'm working on another 12 hours of scary shit, which is usually the bad / schlocky stuff that
Schlocky!
we're talking about.
Schlockorama.
Yeah. So that probably I won't do until August, but it's coming up. So that's
Fair
about
enough.
it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What you got on the plans, Avian?
Well, my hard drive just shit on me the other day, so I'm streaming GTA, or I was having a hard time streaming anything, actually. My computer was crashing all the time when I tried to start streaming. So right now I'm just kind of in the middle of trying to like get everything sort of situated onto this other hard drive and, work 40 hours a week. So it takes a little bit longer than most people.
Yeah.
And
if you can get it going, what are you guys up to at the moment?
Right now I took a break from the GTA RP, and I have like my characters like literally frozen in a morgue until she until I play again.
That's exactly how
fun.
cryogenics works.
Yeah, exactly. Because realism. And then, but I'm playing Ark, the Ark roleplay this right now, and I'm actually playing a vampire countess, like the head of a vampire like court. So
Nice.
which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So if you get that all up and running, we're going to be seeing some vampire-based Ark.
Yep, vampire-based Ark. I have 12 people in my little tribe, and they're all vampires.
So basically, you're Sylvanas then.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Sylvanas. Yeah, it's this whole season is based this like factions idea. So there's like the kingdom, which is like elves and dwarves and good people and humans and stuff. And there's like the wildlands, which is like wildlings and Vikings and like tribal and like like that kind of stuff. And then we're the free folk, which is like the orcs and the goblins and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm all the time I'm saying for the free folk what I mean for the horde. And so it's just and then
Seems
I'm,
legit.
The vampire kind of lead of the vampires and the free folk kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sounds like
Apparently
good times.
during this podcast, our the free folk were being attacked by the kingdom.
I've
So
been
it's gonna be fun to
enjoying.
go online and find that information.
I've been enjoying the
So you might not be the
screenshots.
free folk for very long.
Yeah.
You like the screenshots?
Yeah,
You
I've
like
been
the
enjoying the screenshots of the building.
Yeah, we had our tribe found the unicorn because every server has one unicorn, and in character
Sure, of course. Why not?
I put on the birthday suit skin for Ark and just went riding around the countryside on the unicorn. I was like, I feel like a scene from Witcher right now.
Witcher probably has got a unicorn for Geralt
It
to ride in it.
does. You didn't know Witcher 3 has an entire sex scene where she's sitting on a unicorn.
Sex on a unicorn. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, but I mean, I'm like one of the 9 people in the world who just doesn't give a fuck about the Witcher games.
I just bought them
and-
for Steam. I'm at the Steam sale, so I'm
Oh,
excited
it's supposed to
actually
be
get a chance
really,
to play.
really, really great.
Mhm.
It really is supposed to be fantastic. I just struggle all the time to care about the Witcher games.
Yeah, I have a friend that I had a really long conversation about how I was like, I don't really know if I play a game or the whole purpose is to just have sex with every single female. And he's like, I felt the same way about it. He's like, for the longest time. And then I had someone push me to play this one.
Oh,
And
it's
I was like, and I guess this one is miles better than the other ones. So
Oh, they built every single
They're-
time, and some of the stories the books are really good. I've read the Witcher books; they're really good. I just can't care about
Yeah.
the games. I don't know what it is.
All 3 of them are actually really good. The sex thing of course, that gets sensationalized because that's what people the
Cthulhu
low
seems to struggle
hanging
giving a
fruit.
shit about anything good. What, you mean Dead by Daylight, which is the last thing you said was good in the chat?
But
I'm not
yeah,
sure your opinion counts if Dead by Daylight is your definition of
if
good.
you overlook the low hanging fruit that is what most people flock to, which is that in the first one you have you pick up these cards every time you have sex with a woman. I had sex with 2 people in The Witcher 1. It's like a side note. You don't have to do it. It's like they're great games. They're great games. But I
Yeah, I'm
understand
excited
not wanting to
about
play them too.
It's supposed to be super
I
good.
am very
I just
excited
can't.
to
I
play.
just
And then I
can't
was
care.
told that if I like it, that I should go back and try the other ones because they're not as bad as you would think based off of the.
Well, the first one is really clunky.
It's clunky. Yeah,
Um,
it took. That was the first game I ever streamed. It was a delight once I got over the clunkiness because the story. I mean, part of it. To go back to the schlocky thing for a minute because it's so dated. It's
they
it's
built
super
really
cheesy,
well.
but it's so good.
That was the first game I ever watched you stream. was
Yeah.
Witcher.
Yeah, Witcher 1 and 2.
back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's supposed to be really great. And there's one storyline that I've seen on 10 different streams, so I know it to be super good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So what
I
are you
don't know.
playing next week?
Oh, I don't know. I'm moving house, so it's all over. It's all up in the air at the moment. But there'll be some Darkest Dungeon, Blood Moon Torches runs because I haven't hated myself enough for a while. So I think I'll do that.
Adam plays Darkest Dungeon, if you guys didn't know.
I am
I don't know if
occasionally.
you guys are aware that
I have
Adam
occasionally
plays
played
Darkest
Darkest Dungeon. Yeah. And I would do the
I
Little
bet you
Nightmares DLC on the weekend in a spotlight, probably Perception. And I don't know, I would start Resident Evil 4, but it's just the controls are really annoying me at the moment.
You seemed like you were pained to be playing it. I was watching you play it.
It was a real struggle. So I don't know. I'll probably play something, maybe Silent Hill 2 if I can get my controller working. But there's definitely going to be Darkest Dungeon involved, and other horror games throughout the week.
Yep.
And that will probably be about it.
If you go into Adam's stream, 75% of the time you'll catch him play Dungeon, Bloodborne, or not Bloodborne, Blood Bowl, Amnesia.
That's utterly not true. Like 2 days a week, I'll be playing Darkest Dungeon.
Anymore, it's like
games that are not those.
Usually, it's Darkest Dungeon or like Hearthstone or
Hearthstone if it's
Hearthstone a lot more lately.
Hearthstone if I'm off schedule. Yeah, if I'm on in the middle of the night, it's Hearthstone because I can't be fucked. Those are the laziest casts ever. No intro or fucking anything.
You're not gonna play Dream Dad or Daddy Dating Simulator or whatever the fuck it is.
Controversy with that. I didn't even know about that game existed until I heard the people losing their mind about it.
The only thing I can think of is that the guy released it like a day late, and there were some people who were fucking entitled and just furious about it.
So is just the entitled bullshit then? It is just the.
I'm so tired of whiners that are entitled that it's almost like if I see it, I don't even want to talk about it just because it's like the drama that I don't want to even think about or have in my life. It's just like.
It was a game where it was like, eh.
Oh, that's still not out. Okay.
I would have never heard of the game were it not for the started to get really pissy about the fact that it wasn't out. And the main thing I would looked at, because I saw a post from some guy who was either the head of the company or something, and it seemed super transparent. The post was something like, well, the game isn't in a state for us to release yet, so we're not releasing it yet. Sorry. Or words to that effect. And I was like, oh, all right.
People, because if he had released it with these bugs, then it would be a Friday the 13th situation where people are fucking furious because he released a broken game. So you can't please everyone. And I just need people to chill the fuck out. Go outside and I
just need people to have a big group unbunching of your panties.
Calm down about your weird dad dating simulator. You'll get it eventually.
It'll come out and it'll be like Hatful Boyfriend.
Isn't as easy as just, slapping some jelly on a piece of bread and some peanut butter on a piece of bread and slapping it together. There's tons of elements involved.
Oh, that's right.
Like, even if you put like a date on it, there's a chance that it's still just not going to come out by that time.
That's right.
So many elements.
Maureen's got it because they fucking streamed a developer build. That's right. That was part of the problem.
Yeah, people were furious about that. Yeah.
Which and even I, who knows absolutely zero about game manufacture, knows the difference between a developer build and a release build, right?
Yeah.
It's like that shouldn't be complicated, but apparently it is. But yeah, they streamed a development build, and then everyone was like, "Oh, can't you just release that?" It's, well, no. Because that's like definitively not how it goes. I didn't say what Hatful Boyfriend is excellent. Hatful Boyfriend's all right if you want a dating simulator.
Shut your no, just kidding.
Hatful Boyfriend's okay if you want to if your dream is to date pigeons, I guess.
Adam actually liked. He thought it was delightful.
Actually, I'll tell you what. Hatful Boyfriend, I'd have preferred much more if it wasn't pigeons. Because for some reason, I don't understand why.
The point of
you were surprised by it.
Silliness to that is that it is pigeons.
There was a couple of stories in Hatful Boyfriend that I actually thought was dark as shit, and was like, I was like mocking the game for like 3 hours, and then suddenly got sideswiped by a storyline in that. There was one where one of the pigeons had always been dead, and another one where like one was like an evil scientist or some shit.
Fun version of a stupid dating sim. That's what
I would have just been better.
You know what else I'd like? I'd like a dating sim where I date zombies. I'd like a dating sim where
I would like that too.
Vampires. I would like a dating sim.
I'd like all of these things. What the fuck are you talking about? These are not good examples.
No, it's just cheesy and stupid. You make some puns and throw it at me, and I'll laugh and I'll.
The serial killer. That's the one I thought was cool, Maureen. Yeah.
Is there
But
a
Out of a
serial
Boyfriend,
killer?
Out of a
Is it
Boyfriend
serial
wasn't as
killer?
dire as I thought it would be.
Oh no! One of the birds is a serial.
Yeah, one of the birds in it was the
I
doctor
haven't played
bird was
enough
like a serial
to
killer
know
or
a whole bunch
something.
about it, but what I have
Make
played
these
of it is-
games.
Yes, I originally way back in the day I used to use RPG Maker to try to make dating sims.
You should please get back into doing that.
Yeah, but that sounds like it might be a laugh.
Like, please. I will
Yeah,
play
there was, like,
each and
I
every
made,
one
like,
of them.
I made like a dating sim where it was like you're a boy in like this like big castle town, and there was like a mermaid you could date and a vampire
Do you
could
still
date
have
and like
these?
a werewolf you could date.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck no, I made them on PlayStation. This is back whenever you had RPG Maker on
Okay,
PlayStation.
because I was gonna say I'll have an
Currently
Abby.
play it.
I'll have an Abby day. I'll just play all of your shit.
There's sometimes a part of me because I work in a video game company.
Yeah, Jay, don't
like,
waste
maybe I
time
should
playing
just go
like
back to
Resident
school.
Evil Nemesis or something. No. Don't play that. That game is nothing in terms of horror. Play Abby's fucking programming practice, dating sim zombie game. Play that before Resident Evil Nemesis. Good choice.
Her saying serial killers, like, or the serial killer from the top of Boyfriend or whatever. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
awesome if it was a dating sim, but it's not really a dating sim, and you're just picking like which serial killer to kill, or like
Which serial killer is going to kill you, or which
Yeah.
victim is going to
Yeah.
kill? Yeah, I could get behind that. I play that
Are
game.
you intensifying me?
Yeah.
I play that. Let's get a Kickstarter going. They're a piece of piss to set up, right?
I just wanna be
Dan
dating
can
hot.
rate us someday.
Sure.
You wanna judge
No,
the
House
dad
for
puns?
Boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this dad sim because there's so many great jokes you can make from a dating dad sim. So
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be.
I'm just not pissed off that I can't play it right now.
Yeah. And How to Have a Boyfriend wasn't that bad. I'm not really into dating sims, but I imagine if I was, it would have been great.
Yeah. I guess I will probably won't play it for a while, if at all, just because it's one of those kind of like an Undertale or even like a Hatoful Boyfriend, where
Fuck Undertale, that game's a
the
piece of shit.
hype of those have just like they've become larger than life,
No,
and
it's okay. Undertale's actually
Yeah.
shit. It's fine.
I
It's not a
just have
problem.
I have no interest, even in like a tongue in cheek way. I'm just like, you know.
Adam,
Yo.
what about a Lovecraft dating sim?
I've already got one of those. It's actually called Not a Lovecraft Dating Simulator or something like that.
Man, I need
Hold on,
it.
where is it?
I need it
I've
in
actually
my
got
life.
this. Yeah, Army of Tentacles, not a Cthulhu dating sim. I
Army
already
of
own this.
Tentacles,
Man,
not
I
a
need this in my
Cthulhu
life.
dating sim.
I could install
I
it
need it
right
in my
now
life.
if I wouldn't have to immediately uninstall it.
I know what I'm gonna play soon.
Yeah, actually, it's not total shit. It's more of a jokey kind of tongue-in-cheek thing. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh my god, there's 3 of them.
Yes, there's a bunch. Start a cult as an achievement. Yes. So that's worth checking out. Buy Army of Tentacles, not a Cthulhu dating sim, everyone. It's like £1 or something. It's really cheap. Did I read the Cthulhu erotica book? I probably have, but I'm not going to admit to it. Except just then.
He just did.
Right? It's weird. Swung it around. No, I have read a bunch of Cthulhu erotica, and it all falls into the same kind of terrible area, honestly. You know, hentai porn? It's like that, but for words. And it tends to get gross before it gets sexy. And then
I
it
would
doesn't
imagine. Yeah.
And then it doesn't ever get sexy. And then afterwards you need to go and like not eat for a couple of days. It's a whole thing. Then you need to wash until your skin comes off. Anyway, read the Cthulhu erotica book, everyone. Cthulhu
I
Saves the World
will.
is hilarious and
Right
amazing.
now,
I've played some of that. Yeah, that was pretty
done
good.
and done.
Cthulhu Saves the World is unashamedly bitching. So everybody should play that.
So you're gonna switch to you're doing your normal, but you're gonna be playing like,
I've got Silent
Some
Hill 2
indie-
if I can get my controller to
Yeah.
work, and
but you're moving, so it's up. And
Yeah, it's all a bit up in the air, but there'll be the usual indie horror on the weekends and AAA horror Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and punch myself in the dick runs on Darkest Dungeon Monday, Tuesday. And probably like late night Hearthstone if my sleep pattern's all fucked up, which it will be. And you've got Hollow Knight and Garbage and Try It Tuesday and all that sick shit.
Yup. Got to do a garbage episode this week, and I got a couple other things. Like, I'm trying to get some pre-recorded stuff for vodcasts just so like I can have a day, but in doing that I've put in like a little extra weird workload on myself. It's fine though. It's stuff that I kind of wanted to do. I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to at least try it. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. And then somebody mentioned Metro 2033, which I really do need to start. So
it's a pretty sick game.
Yeah.
No, that's a good game actually. That's a game that verges on horror, but not really.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I didn't realize it was as beloved as it seems to be. Like every time it's come up, people are like, "Yes."
Metro 2033 is good, but Last Light is really great. Honestly. Is it called Last Light? Metro
Last Light.
Dying? Yeah, it's Last Light, isn't it? I think it's a pretty fucking stellar game, personally. Undertale is a truly unique experience through gameplay. Yeah, if you've never played Earthbound.
I have my reasons. Like what you like. I will. It's been asked, and I will probably never play Undertale. And that's where that ends. It's like,
you're not missing out on anything. It's not very good.
Not to say, I don't, you like what you like, but I will probably never play it. I don't think it's something that I'm going to enjoy on stream.
I know it was done on purpose, and it was meant to be like this, but it looks like it was animated for like Amstrad. And
even if people would argue that I wouldn't, believe me, I have my personal reasons. I just don't want to, and I don't want to get into that. But that's the long and short of where we are with the whole stream, I guess. This is a long fucking stream. So
this is a long one.
Yeah.
This is a long one. So we're gonna be doing Silent Hill
next time in a couple of weeks.
Next time on Lady Aviana's channel.
Yep. It'll literally be me sitting here in a referee outfit while these two duke it out over Silent
You're gonna
Hill.
actually get a referee outfit for your avatar, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Well, all she has to do right now is just fill
gray the white,
gray spots it on her shirt. She's a ref already. Just put a little whistle around her neck. Done.
Sounds like a good time. All right, what are you up to tonight, Jade? I assume you're streaming after this.
Hollow Knight. Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and start
you're
Hollow
heading straight
Knight.
into Hollow Knight today. Oh,
I
nice.
believe so. Yeah, I considered doing Slain, and we were playing a PUBG earlier. Me, your boy Tuesday, and Echo, and they were like, "What do you?"
Chicken dinner.
I got a couple. We didn't get one tonight, or today.
Oh, I want to jump in there with you sometime. I love PUBG.
Let me know, because we're always looking for people. But yeah, I was like, they were like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Well, it depends on how these games go. I'll either be playing Slain or Hollow Knight. If I get angry, I'll be playing Hollow Knight." And so like things kept happening, and then I can't remember what exactly happened, but Tuesday was like, your boy's doing that because he wants to see Jade play Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight is pretty great. I mean, I don't really like platform games, and I definitely think it's a bit of a stunner in terms of its looks.
I really do want to finish Slain. I just don't. I think I'd rather have I think I'd rather just start a new game tonight. Is what it comes down to.
Tim Burton directed Shovel Knight is what I think of as Hollow Knight.
When I played the demo of it, I really enjoyed it. So I think that's just going to be fun to get to tonight. So that's the plan.
Sure. Sounds like a good time. Sounds like a lot of fun.
So since it's on my channel, you guys can stick around. Or if you don't want to watch that, Adam maybe is going to go play some Hearthstone. I don't know if Abby's...
fuck that noise. I'm tired.
I'm probably going to be doing...
Okay.
I thought I was going to, but there's just way too much stuff that I have to switch over to my new hard drive, and my old hard drive is still kind of meh, so I don't feel like it's a good idea.
Awesome.
But I'm probably
watch me,
tomorrow,
everyone.
So.
There we go.
You should definitively stay here and watch Jay play Hollow Knight, because that'll be a sick experience.
Give her all your love.
Yes, absolutely. You should do that.
Probably do a Rock Band stream next week too. I don't know. I was gonna do one the other day, but I haven't played in a bit. I want to see what's new.
You did that. What do you call it? That fight thing, didn't you?
We did Fight Night yesterday. That was great because Jay fought Brandon, and I thought they were the same person, and then Jay lost, and he blamed me.
He always loses when he calls people out.
And
it's like 0 and 3 in call outs. He lost to JT Yankees of all people. Who? That's not a slight on JT, the real person. That's a slight on JT's character in the games.
Well, now
Right.
JT and Adam are gonna fight.
That's fine. I've already beaten JT several times in your computer game. Apparently, the answer is be an expert in whatever the fuck you put me in. Because I
Yeah.
don't think that anything else is different.
No,
Just be an expert in that thing, whatever it's called. Taekwondo, I don't know what.
you
the
were a
martial
jujitsu.
art
Yeah, I think.
was. Just
Yeah.
be an expert in that is apparently the answer to winning in that game. Because I was like 2 foot tall in that game. It was like an Oompa Loompa fighting the rest of them. They were
That's
like
true.
6'5".
That's true.
And I knocked most of them out somehow. That was stupid. But yeah, so you got a rock band coming up. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Next week will be a busy week, but less busy. Like I did a lot of community stuff this week, and I'm exhausted. So I'm ready to get back to some games. We reset the Ark server. That was great. The Ark
You got some squid action going on.
destroying the center. Yeah, we tamed some squids.
As well you should.
Mhm.
Taming squids is always a good time.
But yeah, getting back to some games next week. So
All right. So you know what to do. Hang around here. Play watch Hollow Knight. Metro. All that shit. Do the thing.
okay, well, I'm gonna run this song that Miller did the voice for the end of. So say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Ta-ta.
Welcome to the Hellmouth.